Okay, let's get started.
Just raise your glasses high. This one's for
Amy.
Riley.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back, our little turtle cuties.
I didn't know if we could do it, but we're here.
I thought if we took a week off, we would never come back.
Yeah.
Did you think that too?
Yeah.
Were you worried that we were going to get a text from each other at some point and say, do you think we should just end the Turtle Time mission?
1 year. Less than 1 year.
Less than 1 year. Well,
Yeah.
let's at least make it till March 3rd. Or,
Yeah.
you know, around the Sandoval 1 year anniversary, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There was that huge Salt Lake bomb this week, and there was talk of whether we were going to record early as an emergency, but I was unavailable, and I was like, I don't think I can do it even 1 day sooner.
I understand. I think we definitely, well, so I've said this before, but adhering to this week and doing every week makes you, committed to it. Like if you do take a week off, it's one time I used to play tennis almost every single day with my wife.
Yeah.
And then one day we didn't wake up at 7 a.m. and we said, let's just sleep in. And then we never played tennis again. And it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
That's how quickly a routine can shift. So
Yeah.
I'm glad we came back. No matter how shitty this episode is, I'm glad we're just back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we are adhering to this. And I think we can make Turtle Time, there's enough juice to squeeze for a little longer, right?
I think so.
I think that Salt Lake City, what that did, that just said that there is more juice in the big Bravo fruit that we don't just have to think about Vanderpump Rules and Sandoval. Like we were wringing the shit out of Sandoval. I mean,
Yeah.
we're still seeing the drips of juice from Sandoval. Salt Lake City just had, I think, one of the most powerful things ever. I mean, not to step on it, but
Yeah.
that's one of the biggest things that's ever happened in the Bravo universe, and that just happened now.
Yeah, it was very unique.
It
I
was-
was racking my brain for previous examples, and I couldn't really come up with one. I mean, honestly, you kind of have to give Salt Lake credit because the FBI bus thing was maybe the last insane, unexpected
Yeah.
thing like that to happen. And then Sandoval wasn't on camera, so
Yeah.
it's different.
It's definitely different. I mean, I was thinking the same thing. It's like, what are the parallels here? What? I mean, it's a scandal. No, I mean, it's just a huge bombshell. Like, there's
Yeah.
been no revelation like that because this has never happened before.
Yeah.
A full blown Bravo superfan / takedown account.
Yeah.
Anonymous person using a takedown account was cast on a show, and I think no one knew it. Right?
We'll get into it.
You don't think? Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right. Well, I just think it is unprecedented. And I think that it just shows that there's more power in the Bravo universe than just Vanderpump Rules. And I feel like when I'm looking back at 2023 with like Salt Lake City and Southern Charm and Vanderpump Rules, it was like, it's a pretty great Bravo year, even though it seemed while we were in it, like this is like the dregs and nothing's ever going to be good again. Right?
Yeah. No, it was good. A lot of entertainment. There's just so much of it that I feel like it brings the average down, but when you only consider the best of the best, it's all very good.
Yeah, I was trying to even do a little bit of like highlights and lowlights, and I think specifically Salt Lake City and Southern Charm have just been, so good. Like this has been by far my favorite Salt Lake City. And then like I was thinking like OC, even though I enjoyed it and it was like fun the entire way, it's like that wasn't, I don't know. I don't think that was at the heights of what the Bravo universe can show us.
Yeah.
And then Atlanta was this year as well. And besides some very fun moments like Drew Sidora singing to Ralph at the reunion, that also, it's like now I've seen what the heights of Bravo can be.
Yeah.
And those were definitely, I think, low moments.
I don't envy those producers. They really got to crack the whip over there to keep the lights on.
Yeah, I think so too. A lot of people were saying, like, take notes, everyone. Beverly Hills, like, you guys are having Sutton go on 3 first dates in a row on Beverly Hills.
If I have to see Garcelle talk to her son one more time, I'm going to scream.
I know. And but then I don't want them to take the wrong lessons from Salt Lake City because this is unrepeatable. this is not something that you can manufacture, and I don't want them to manufacture this.
Yeah.
I don't want them to try to have some fourth wall, like behind the scenes scandal erupt that like shakes the foundation of the show, because then it would be a trope and bland, and someone would do it wrong, and there'd be producers' fingerprints all over it. Like, this is a one-time scandal, and I don't think it could ever happen again.
Yeah. No, it was fun to watch.
Okay, well, we're going to get into it, but there's a little bit of, there wasn't a lot of news over the last 2 weeks. I think that every Bravo celebrity sort of said, I'd like to take a break from like sending Page Six leaks and like reporting on other stuff, or even trying to break news on their own. I feel like now, right at the start of the year, everyone is trying to have a little bit of shine again.
Yeah.
Lala, James, Katie, Dana, like everyone's like, okay, we're gearing up for Vanderpump Rules. Let's start making some waves. Hubhouse. Everyone gave us a break, which was nice. They all took a break.
Thank you.
That was sweet of them. I'm so glad that no like major, well, I don't know, maybe it would have been fun, but there was just no huge developments over the break.
There was, I'm just going to say this before I forget. Did you see that Gypsy Rose was released from prison, and now it turns out she's Stassi's cousin or something?
Yeah. I saw that. She's like, I think she's like 10th or 11th cousin, which I think you and I are probably 10th or 11th.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
But you know that Stassi's going to take that to the bank with her true crime fanaticism.
Yeah, what did she specifically say? Because I know she commented on it.
Oh, she did? I didn't see it.
She said something like,
Was she like, slay?
She said, this is a major slay for me and Gypsy Rose Blanchard. I didn't watch the actual true crime documentary about that. I watched the one with the act. The act.
Yeah, I watched that too.
Were the two
Patricia Arquette and Joey King.
Joey King and Patricia Arquette. And what happened with Gypsy Rose, right, is that she was Munchausened by her mom. Said that she had
original Munchausen.
Major Munchausen, right? She said that she had every disease in the world and she couldn't go outside.
Yeah, she like got all her teeth pulled out and like told her she had cancer and did all the Make-A-Wish stuff and had her in a wheelchair, and there was literally nothing wrong with her.
Nothing.
I
It's
don't think
still
so.
nothing.
I think so. Yeah, she's
healthy
fine.
as hell.
Yeah, I don't know about like mentally anymore.
Well, I heard that she's mentally doing good now.
She's married.
She's married to, I saw that. Oh, I'm glad you brought this up. There was this one funny thing I saw on Twitter where her husband, Gypsy Rose Blanchard's husband, posted Gypsy, her husband. He said he posted a photo saying 53 days and counting until I get my Gypsy back. And Don, what's Candy's assistant say? Juan.
Don Juan
commented and said, check your DMs. People said, what the hell? So this is on Twitter, so whoever posted that was the best thing I've ever seen. They said, what does Don Juan need from Gypsy Rose's
Are they going to join the Candy gang?
Yeah, I don't know. Who played Gypsy Rose Blanchard's boyfriend that was trying to take her away who took her on a date to Chuck E. Cheese? And do you remember?
I don't remember who played him, but I enjoyed that show.
Yeah, I thought it was good too.
There's been a whole thing like awaiting her release where everyone's like, slay. People were like, slay mama. And they're like, not slay mama.
Yeah, oh God.
She slayed her mama.
How did she kill her mother again?
Stab.
She stabbed?
I think the boyfriend did, actually.
Really? The guy that we're talking about, that Don
Not
Juan
the
was...
husband, but the boyfriend who's now in jail forever.
Oh, her boyfriend.
Yeah, from the past.
Oh, the mom's?
Gypsy's boyfriend that she met on like MySpace or whatever came over and basically killed her for her.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah. So like he had no excuse. He's just psycho.
Yeah.
She was like tortured and trapped in a house.
He just
so
wanted
she's
to kill someone?
I think so.
Do you think it's justifiable to kill your mother if she's doing Munchausen syndrome stuff on you? Would you?
I mean, there are worse...
There are worse what? Things? What the hell did Amy just say? No, I didn't.
Of
I
all
don't
the
mean to
people
say
on Earth that have to go down, I'm not going to be the saddest about that one.
Right. I guess if it was just some person from MySpace that wanted to get his murder on, that makes it more justifiable that he did it to honor Gypsy Rose once he heard the story.
Yeah.
But Gypsy Rose went to jail because she was complicit in it.
Yeah. She like planned it.
Okay.
Yeah, and they fled and whatever. But I think hopefully she has a good life now. Hopefully Stassi invites her over. Maybe she'll get on Cameo.
I was seeing also stuff, man, you just tapped into a Gypsy Rose like full
The
minute.
Gypsy Roman.
TMZ was going so nuts because I have the TMZ app now just in case anything big happens in the Bravo universe. But it was like Gypsy Rose is out and she's driving a motorcycle back to LA or whatever. And it was like every up to the minute updates. And she was like, she wants to meet Taylor Swift. And then it was like Gypsy Rose is on her way to Taylor Swift's or to a Chiefs game to meet Taylor Swift. It's like, I love that we love Gypsy Rose now, but I don't think necessarily Taylor Swift wants to invite Gypsy Rose into the box with her and Travis Kelce and take
I
a
would
photo.
love to see that photo.
We should Photoshop Taylor Swift, Gypsy Rose, and Stassi in a photo together.
yeah.
Gypsy Rose meets her heroes.
Yeah, I like that.
So anyway, I didn't know how tapped in Gypsy Rose. I didn't know the affinity for Gypsy Rose. I didn't know how tied in now to the Bravo universe she is, being Stassi's first cousin. And then also I just thought it was funny that TMZ was like, let Gypsy Rose meet Taylor Swift. Like she wants to really bad. It's like, okay, she probably wants to do a lot of stuff.
I saw she got a blue check mark already.
She did?
Yeah.
So she paid for Twitter Blue?
It was on Instagram. But I think you can pay there too now.
Ooh, I want to pay for that.
Yeah, we should.
That would be awesome.
But yeah. And then in other true crimes, I saw that Lindsay Hubbard was bragging on Instagram that she bought a house in Nashville, not to live in, but to rent out, like a slumlord,
right,
garbage bag human, like she is.
Why did she think, just like, why did she think that was going to seem admirable or something worth touting?
If you look at the comments, it's all of the blue check Bravo people are like, slay mama, clap, 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 amazing,
buy a house and rent
great
it out.
investment. And all the regular comments are like, wow, like you're contributing to ruining the housing market. Normal people can't buy houses. You're not even living in it. Like,
yeah,
fuck you.
Yeah, if I were, she's a PR wizard, I thought,
Yeah.
right? So I think that, didn't she remember that, like, 2 years ago, we were having sort of an anti-landlord sentiment.
Yeah, I can still. So Dax Shepard and Kristen Bell, landlords.
They're landlords?
What was the first? Wasn't it like Hannibal Buress got in
Hannibal
trouble for
Buress
that?
was the first landlord that was outspoken about being pro-landlord. He was like, I own a house, and I rent it out, and I don't see why people are mad at landlords.
Yeah. I think Mark Duplass.
He's a landlord?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sure there's. I bet almost everyone
Can I
is
be devil's
low-key.
Advocate? Can I be the devil's advocate?
Sure.
Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but a lot of people who accrue wealth,
Yes.
and are in the upper echelon of wealth will buy investment properties and rent them out to
Yes.
people to make money.
Yeah.
They just are probably not outspoken about being landlords. It's
Yeah.
a bad term. If I was a PR person, I would
Lord
change
of
the term.
land.
Lord of the land? I would change it to house giver. You know what I'm talking about? Or,
Giver of home sweet home.
yeah, rent. Just something sweet, which we could do some. Maybe we could sort of rehabilitate the term landlord. That shit is
Homemaker.
homemaker. Home. I think home giver had some merit to it. That was just off the top of my head, but
But they don't give it. They charge.
home keeper? No, because you said that.
Lender.
Home lender. Oh, we
Well,
have.
that's kind of like the bank, I guess.
So I think that you're right. Everything you said is right. I don't know why Lindsay would tout this. It's not a huge win.
Unless you're doing low income housing, you need to shut the fuck up. Don't tell anyone.
Yeah, and also
Especially like Nashville, it's like so cheesy, like of her.
yeah.
I'm not shitting on Nashville. I've never been there, but like I feel like she's targeting it because
Yeah.
it's become like a tourist hotspot. It's like such a bachelorette city.
I'm sure they hate it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's like, hey, yeah, we walk down this beautiful street of ours, historical street, and every home is rented out by bachelorette parties that are holding hub house
Yeah.
signs or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not good.
No.
And I don't know why she thought it was,
A sleigh.
a sleigh, but that is just exactly every move she's made post the Carl thing has been exactly like this. It is the bizarro version of what Ariana did post Tom.
Yeah.
Every move Ariana made has been strategic and well calculated, and she's never gotten to the end of public support, or she might be like winding down now.
Yeah.
But everything Lindsay did was the exact opposite.
She's like the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, she's the one who had to bring up at BravoCon on her own how upset she was by the thing. Like, she had to facilitate talking about her and Carl's breakup because no one else wanted to.
Yeah. I was texting with my friends about this, and one of them was like, she probably saved all the money from making Carl pay half the rent, even though he didn't live there.
Right.
And like made a down payment because their rent, as we recall, was $13,000 a month.
And it's going to be called Hub House.
I guess.
I mean, as much as I hate it, I do want us all to go and stay there and, give her some money and go to Nashville. So if you want to do that, I would love to.
Do you think that's something I would do?
No, of course not.
If we gave hard-earned Patreon dollars to the Hub House, every single person would cancel.
I think you're right. Okay, we're not going to go to Hub House for a Turtle Time trip. Even if we were to report upon it, I guess there wouldn't be much to report. It's like, look at this house.
Yeah, it could be like, remember those old like Gawker articles where they'd go to like restaurants and they were kind of like funny reviews? Maybe we could be like Hub House, Airbnb, the worst day of my life kind of a thing.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
that's the kind of thing I think we would do.
Cockroaches.
Yeah. It's like this place was cold, dark, damp.
I mean, you already know what it's going to look like. It's going to have a neon sign, 100%.
Yeah.
She had one in her and Carl's house that said Rad House.
I know.
That she ceremoniously took down, which I just really can't.
I understand. Also, the photo that she posted where she was rifling through that big book of things, it might as well have just been her rifling through a big thing of cash, it looked like. The way she was doing it.
Yeah.
Like, if you Photoshop cash in there, it just looked like, ill-intentioned.
Yeah. It's also like, okay, congrats. Like, not my business. Like, I don't care what you do with your finances.
Yeah, save that for you.
What?
Yeah.
It's like one thing if you're like, I bought a home for myself. That's something you could, be proud of and would make sense in her storyline of like, I'm on my own and like bought my own place. But she's like, asterisk, it was an investment. It almost felt like it was like in partnership with like, like a mortgage company or something.
Like JT's company or something, right?
Yeah.
Have you checked in on the Hub House stands that you were always
I should. I should
peeking
see
in
if they posted about that, or I'm sure, because the thing is, I feel like politically they'll be at odds with that choice. Right?
They'll be like the one wrong thing that Lindsay's done in 10 years.
They'll be like, oh no.
Yeah. Carl seems to be, being fully embraced by the rest of the Summer House cast post Lindsay.
Good.
And he even, got welcomed back to Loverboy officially.
Yes.
Like, it seems like his Loverboy trajectory was fully reflective of his relationship with Lindsay, where the minute they got serious, he quit the board or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the minute the relationship is over, he's back.
Yeah. I gotta say, after I've brought this up before, but after Danielle's season of Winter House and knowing that she's fully in lockstep with Hub House, I'm like, I might be done with her.
Oh, okay. She'll never lose me. What would Winter House have been without Danielle loving Alex like she did? I
just mean her decision making is now really in question.
Yeah. Do we, derive in? Well, I guess you're right, but I would say the decision making of a lot of the people we watch is, affected sometimes, right, by external forces. I mean, I don't love the decision making of everyone in the Bravo world.
No, I just mean I'm not on her side because she makes the wrong choices.
Okay. All right. Well, I still defend Danielle, and we'll see how she does in this, new season.
Can't wait. We still haven't seen shit. Like, we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, man, it all feels so, like, the fact that we have to wait 6 months, it's like, because now we're talking about everything so topically and we know where everybody's out, and we've seen Lindsay and Carl like in November, like we've seen all this stuff. It's like getting this 6-month-old shit. It's kind of like, you're like, damn, so much has changed and there's so much like new stuff. It's like, we're going to see Danielle, just after Winter House, like a couple months after Winter House. It just seems like we're going back in time so much.
I know. I historically have never followed, Bravo people on Instagram from my personal account because I don't want to know and I just want to watch the show as is. But now it's like, it's beyond Instagram. It's just news at this point,
right?
Yeah. Speaking of, the other news was that the Toms went to Hong Kong.
I think so. I think the two Toms and Kyle Chan and maybe a couple other people that I wasn't familiar with all went on a big Hong Kong trip. And up until, I mean, I wouldn't have followed this either, except for the fact that, they just have been posting stories about it. I mean, I don't really care that they went on this trip.
It looked cool until Sandoval posts. Did he post it or did Kyle Chan post it?
Tom Sandoval posted a photo with the tiger behind him, and then he posted the video of the tiger drinking milk and putting his paws on Tom's shoulder.
What an idiot.
Well, did you? Okay. Did you? I'll be honest with you, fully honest. And this might, I don't know, this might perturb some people. But when I saw that, I did not remember, or I didn't think about the ramifications of animal cruelty. I didn't.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Oh, did you? So did you instantly?
Yeah, I mean, whenever I see a large beast in captivity for the entertainment of humans, I do not like it. I don't even like going to the zoo, but the zoo is like, assuming it's a good zoo, a reputable zoo, is like maybe best case scenario because the people there are like trained and educated to give them a good life, but I don't prefer to be entertained by captive animals.
Okay, I agree with you 100%. I went to the San Diego Zoo 10 years ago, and I was very sad looking at every creature in there that's not in its natural environment, sad as hell, going, what the hell happened to my life? Where am I? Who are these people that are throwing, well, they don't throw stuff at them, but
yeah.
I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I think the concept of zoos is definitely very outdated.
Yeah.
The only thing I could say is that if they were like near, I don't even know. I guess there's
if
no
there's like a
justification.
rescue situation, that's different.
And maybe they get swapped out where like you see them for 2 weeks as they're rehabilitating, and then they go back into their environment of a rescue. But
I feel like usually the rescued animals at the rescue ones are because of the other kind. They've been rescued from other, zoos.
Like a horrible zoo environment that was not up to the standards of like the San Diego Zoo.
Right.
Even the San Diego Zoo, which is touted as one of the best zoos in the country or whatever. I was like, this is one of the best zoos? It's not that great. It looks like shit. The elephant area looked like the dog park in Pasadena.
Yeah.
Just like, so I
No, it's
don't like
horrible.
I don't like it either. I don't like zoos, and I don't obviously like animal cruelty. I just did not remember specifically that if you go to Thailand and you get a chance to pose with a tiger, that you shouldn't do it. I just kind of forgot. It was like, I mean, it's like on UGT season 3, I only watched like 4 episodes, but I remember they went to a big elephant pit where the elephants are like flinging mud on them and stuff. It's like, well, I don't know. What was that? I didn't think of that at the time as being exploitative of elephants.
I remember, at least I think I remember for that one, I think you have to do your research, and I think there's some are like sanctuaries for rescued beasts that have been either like abandoned or, maimed or whatever. And I remember, I think on that UGT, they were saying how those specific elephants were being used previously for like labor. Like they were just like pulling trees out of the forest for life.
Wow.
And it was horrible.
Okay.
So I think like there are like wildlife refuges that like are good to give money to because they're saving animals from poachers and whatever.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of places use a guise of being a rescue, and it's bullshit.
Well, how do we know that wasn't that?
It might be.
Okay.
Exactly. So I would probably just like not, unless it was like a truly like Blue Star like rescue that is,
okay,
well known.
Yeah. My 2024 goal is to be more honest, and because I forgot, or when I was watching it, I didn't think this would be horrible until I saw.
You already put Tiger King out of your mind, even though we sing that Carole Baskin song like every day.
Hated Tiger King, but you're right. I didn't like how Joe Tiger.
But that's like the message.
Is it okay? But I didn't. I thought when I saw that photo, when I breezed past it for 1 second and didn't think about it, I just thought he went to a tiger place that lets you take a photo with a tiger, and they don't probably abuse the tigers. That's what I thought. But then when I saw the outrage, well, not outrage, when I saw the well-meaning rebuttal to that, and then I saw Lala and James, I was just like, okay, I see why this is bad.
I love that for James though. Lala, I'm like, we already knew she is obsessed with like, isn't she like, she's like a anti-Sea World advocate. I think that's like kind of her thing.
That's news to me. I did not know that Lala had that facet of her personality. But I'm just saying that I can imagine a world. I hate to say it. I'm sorry, but 2024. I'm being honest. I think that there might have been a world where Tom Sandoval went to this tiger place and he goes, "I get to take a photo with a tiger." Okay, and forgot about how. Like you said, Tiger King. He might have missed Tiger King, and I think that the bar for what provokes outrage for Tom Sandoval specifically is very low right now.
Yeah,
and I felt like James and Lala, in a way, no offense to them, took kind of the opportunity to have maybe a day of. Saying an opinion that they have, but just to sort of take a shot at Tom Sandoval at a time when he is already going through it culturally and socially. And this was like very easy for them to dismiss. And I just imagine a world where Tom Sandoval did not understand the ramifications of what he did. I hate, justifying his behavior. I'm just saying I personally forgot that cultural aspect of society that we don't take photos with wildlife like that. And so maybe he did, ?
Sure. But you would think that if you're on like a PR healing journey and you're like trying to be liked again, that maybe you would like consider those things.
But what if you just forgot?
Well, sure, that's fine. I mean, he did, but now everyone hates him again.
Oh, all right. Okay. Did you find any? I mean, I feel like I'm being you right now. Like we switched spots. Did you find anything sort of possibly maybe a hint of?
I mean, the thing is, maybe it's good that like. He did that and it reminded people that it's bad.
Okay.
Because like one time I went to Rosarito in Mexico and there was a like jungle themed bar and there was a fucking tiger in a cage who was clearly drugged.
Oh, that's
and
horrible.
I wanted to kill myself.
Oh.
Like I wanted to cry that I left. I was like, fuck this.
Oh,
but like,
of course.
I think there's like, it's good to keep it on the mind. So maybe it's good that he went and that people were pissed and then that storyline got amplified again. And so that people will be like, oh, maybe I'll think twice before I do something like that.
He should have said that. PR brain. He should say, I did this to remind everyone of a post-Tiger King reality where this is not okay. And the minute after I did this, I criticized the sanctuary for letting me take this photo.
He's like, I denounce
fully and unequivocally the treatment of tigers at this sanctuary that I went to.
Yeah. I do love, though, even if you think it was like for show, I think James, one of his best qualities is that he's like a true animal lover, and I think it's really sweet. Like, remember when Graham escaped and he was so upset he started crying? You think he's full of shit?
I feel adrift. I feel adrift in how I'm viewing this story, and specifically James Kennedy. Okay.
I think he's an animal lover.
Okay. I think he's an animal lover, but I feel like this number one guy in the group thing and what he's bringing to Tom Sandoval and like taking these kind of easy shots at people, like sort of a holier than thou attitude.
Yeah.
James Kennedy specifically, I feel like was one of the worst people on Vanderpump.
Oh yeah, his time will come.
Oh, okay.
Still.
Okay.
I just mean specifically around like, I guess it's just because I firmly so much agree that I hate that.
Do you remember when Rachel said, I mean, I know people don't trust Rachel, but do you remember when she said that the reason why Graham Cracker had biting issues was because James treated him like shit?
Oh yeah, that he like was like doing weird sex acts.
He goes, bite me, Graham. Bite me. And so that Graham derives, she said this on Bethany's podcast,
I forgot about that.
Graham derives pleasure from biting because James at an early stage said, Graham, bite me harder, please. I love the feeling.
Yeah, I did forget about that.
So I just think
maybe he loves animals so much that it's like too much and it got a little weird.
That's what I think. That's why Rachel Levis. Okay. Oh my God. I just spent the 2024 using Tom Sandoval and Rachel Levis as my anecdotes for, the truth, but but I I don't know. I just think that the morally gray world that Vanderpump Rules lives in is still active today, despite the clear villains and heroes that came after Sandoval.
Sure.
And Lala and James specifically calling out Tom Sandoval in this instance seems not exploitative, just something that needs
Easy.
to be we need to all be wary of. It's
Sure.
just,
I mean, I agree with that.
but you
in
didn't. I didn't think
general.
you didn't give me that, so that's why I felt like I was adrift.
No, sure. I agree with that in general, but I think they both have a history of caring about that thing, so I believe them.
Lala
in
has
this,
a history of caring about animals.
yeah, she's like obsessed with like whales in captivity and shit.
Okay.
So
Oh,
like
wow.
she has like she's posted about that a lot.
Okay. All right.
So
okay.
that
Then
I think when people like pay a lot of attention to that kind of thing, they're like extremely triggered. Like a few months ago, I was Wikipediaing Marine Land, which used to be in it was like a mini SeaWorld in Palos Verdes.
okay.
And don't wiki it.
Okay.
Don't wiki it.
Yeah. No. I am
I
not.
was sobbing.
Oh yeah.
Sobbing.
No, I'm not advocating. I mean, I feel like anything that happened in the world like 20 years ago will look like the Dark Ages in 20 years. Like, I
Yeah.
already feel like we are so removed from even 30 years ago now that like the shit that we permitted, it will be like in history books as what the fuck was going on here
Yeah.
with animal abuse. Even eating meat, I
Yeah.
feel like could look absolutely barbaric in 100 years. So I fully accept that. I just think I need to do devil's advocate and just say Tom Sandoval might not have thought about the ramifications of his actions when he posted that photo.
He
and that
definitely,
James,
yeah.
and I just want to allow for 10% of James and Lala, what I forget what the word is that I'm trying to say, but use this as a way
Sure.
to get a little bit of Tom Sandoval hate energy that they wanted
Sure.
to catapult them a little bit in the news cycle before Vanderpump Rules. That's it.
Yeah.
And you know,
Yeah, I can agree both ways.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure Sandoval's mind begins and ends with like a tiger is fucking cool. Like this would look awesome.
well, until Tiger King, that was culturally the view of tigers.
Yeah.
That they're cool.
Remember the Tom and Ariana tiger tease when they
Yes.
went to Miami?
Yeah, he should have said something about that, right?
Yeah, like Ariana, you liked tigers before.
That was a really odd thing that we saw when we did that on Patreon, when I didn't realize that Tom and Ariana wore matching t-shirts to the bachelorette party. I was like, I don't remember this at all. That was very odd.
Yeah.
And maybe a part of him was whimsically referring to their past love of tigers, and it was sort
Oh yeah,
of
it was a wink.
it was a little wink.
A dog whistle. I mean, there are so many people that even think that they're animal lovers, like Paris Hilton, who I kind of love Paris Hilton, but she has a history of like having exotic animals,
Yeah.
not like tigers, but like monkeys and shit, where I'm like, we don't need to be doing that.
Yeah, one of this rapper I love, French Montana, he had a monkey for like a month, and he was like, "This is my monkey. I love him so much. He wears a diaper and drinks milk, and he just hangs on my shoulders or whatever." And it was like within 6 months, he was like, "I'm sorry, but I could not take care of a monkey. He's back with his monkey friends, and we should never refer to him again." I mean, the worst example of this is Tom Schwartz and Katie.
Oh God,
That is
dog.
That is animal. Yes, that is animal. I mean, whoa. Okay, wait. Maybe I should save this. But that was, to me, I was like, what is the humor of this that you guys took bad care of a lizard and it died within 6 months of you having it?
It was like a week,
a week. It's like you obviously did not take care of this animal, and the way they gave that edit
or it was
of
a
like,
bad egg.
what?
Maybe it was a bad egg. I feel like, how do you kill a lizard that
You
quickly?
have the heat. There's probably 50 things that you have to know to house a lizard in your home in
Yeah.
Valley Village to take care of it. And no offense. Oh, God. Oh, geez. Wow. Maybe I'm going to tone back my honesty. I just thought that the way that was handled, the humor.
Too
and
sad.
It's like, sorry, a lizard that you brought into your home died. And I can't help but think maybe there were a couple things that weren't in his perfect benefit when
Yeah.
you brought him to your home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And I didn't. So that's more on the side of like we just all need to rethink exotic animals, which I guess everybody has, and
Yeah.
now I'm just coming to that conclusion now.
We've come full circle.
Right. 34 minutes of that was good. I mean, I'm glad you brought up Gypsy Rose.
Yeah.
And well, wait, do you think okay, I wanted to be honest and allow for a slight counter narrative, but does any part of you think that, or was I going too out on a limb there, you think, or
No, I think it's both. Like, I think it was a perfect storm where Lala cares about animals in captivity. James, I think, cares about animals because he's like a wounded child and relates to animals that are being harmed. And they were like, and this man is our enemy. So perfect.
Did you at all, like me, think that James, like, solidifying his sort of hatred and stance of he's still a worm was surprising at all? Because I had kind of thought that James was potentially going to be vacillating between the groups and giving Tom the benefit of the doubt this season, but this seems like he's gone fully back.
Right. Well, same with Lala.
Yeah. They were both the people who I think were seen as mediators between Tom and Ariana.
They still could.
So this was like just a gentle, like, razzing.
I feel like even if someone they liked posted that, they would have commented something like,
They wouldn't have done it to Katie.
I think Lala would. She would say like, hey, like we need to talk about this. This is fucked up. I think she would have said something
on her podcast, but I don't think she would have done a post on her story saying a cast member that I'm on a show with would do this. She would have had a different attitude towards.
We have to interview her and find out.
What if, this is like silly, but what if Ariana Madix was just about to do a campaign called Tiger King 2.0 and she was just
Tiger King on Broadway?
She's like, wait, stop the presses. We cannot advertise Tiger King on Broadway.
If anyone has a appetite for cringe, I recommend watching Carol Baskin on Dancing with the Stars on YouTube. It was a COVID season. There's like no one in the audience and she's the worst dancer of all time, and it's truly horrendous.
Was her partner dressed up in a tiger outfit?
Sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't want anything to do with Carol Baskin, and I resent that got brought up into my life culturally. There are some things that get brought into the zeitgeist that I resent the people who brought them into my life.
Yeah. And
that Tiger King, Carol Baskin, everything about them is something I wish I didn't know about, and I resent it.
It's like whenever Will or Jada Pinkett Smith posts something about her and Will, the comments are always like, everything I found out about this couple has been against my will. Like, that's kind of like Tiger King, where you're like, I didn't want this.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel. That's how I feel about Gypsy Rose a little bit too. I mean, I've kind of come full circle on her, and now I stan her more than life itself because this conversation. But I didn't want to know more about Gypsy Rose.
Yeah,
I didn't want to know. And then the fact that she's connected to Stassi as family, blood family. Yeah. Now I guess we have to think about her more and have her, be a guest on Turtle Time. But
do you think she's gonna get milkshake ducked?
Can you remind me what milkshake duck is
it's
again?
The internet term for the example is like milkshake duck, like a duck that drinks milkshakes. We love him. He's so cute. Like he's like the #1 news in the world. And then it's like, unfortunately, Milkshake Duck has committed a crime or whatever. Like, it's like how everyone, it's like Jerry from Cheer. Do you remember that?
Yeah, no, of course. Yes, I think Gypsy Rose will get milkshake ducked. She'll do something.
She kills again.
She'll do something by the time this comes out, it'll be like Gypsy Rose has done a hit and run and murdered someone on the side of the, like, yes, of course. Everyone in our world needs to be treated as a fallible human that at any time can do the worst shit in the world. Yeah. If you stand Shannon Bedore harder than anyone in the world, well, guess what? Yeah. She's coming out of the quiet woman and she's going to run into a building. Yeah. It's just, no one is infallible. Yeah. And we have to all not treat people like superhuman beings.
People go way too hard. Like, I remember when they had Jerry from Cheer on the Oscars red carpet, and all of the like huge A-listers were freaking out coming up to him like, oh my God, you're my favorite person on earth. I think I literally tweeted, I was like, shit's gonna go down. I can feel it in my soul. This is way too out of hand. And then like a week later,
You're
they were
right.
like, he's a pedophile.
Yeah. I mean, horror. That's obviously the worst case example of milkshake duck.
Yeah.
Right. Did they say it when that came out? Where they were like, this is a milkshake duck?
There was like a second season of that show, which was extremely bleak. Like the first season was like them going to the championship, like working so hard.
It was
like,
real.
yeah.
Okay.
And they were like, it was captivating to watch. And then the second season was how like the fallout of them all becoming famous, Jerry going to jail, how sad they all were about it. And it was like the darkest shit I've ever seen. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm like, Netflix, like, I mean, he was, I think, already guilty of those things, but Netflix like ruined their lives.
Yeah. I mean, well, everyone else's life.
Yeah.
I mean, and yeah. Yeah. I think about that, you know, what you said about culturally, like who are our heroes and villains. I mean, I remember an era where Gwyneth Paltrow was seen as like a demon that everyone hated, like an example of privilege, and they hated Country Strong. And like people were like, we hate Gwyneth.
Yeah.
And then now it seems like 10 years on or whatever, she's like a very celebrated person. People, I don't know, for them, I don't know. I don't like to tap in, but I feel like I was like, I like Gwyneth Paltrow. She's fine. She's funny. I like that she doesn't remember being in any of the Marvel movies and says they're all dog shit. Like, people seem to like her.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I think culturally everyone was just like, wait, why do we hate Gwyneth Paltrow?
I think some people still do. But yeah, generally, I think we've decided she's entertaining and kind of just like a fun and silly persona.
I watched the Goop show or whatever. I was like, I like
it
that
was
she's
good.
just trying these experiments. Like, this, I don't know.
Yeah. I have heard that she treats wait staff like absolute shit, though.
Well, we're getting a wonderful Patreon thing, which I haven't even, I haven't Patreon comments, but I haven't even dug into yet. But we have a wonderful Patreon who's telling us how horrible everyone has been at her at a restaurant. Right? Did you see that? So we're gonna dive into that after, because we got to give our wonderful Villa Rosa VIP some credit for spilling all this.
We should start a whole thread of like, give your do moi 2.0 on the Patreon.
I would love, I mean, they did this in the media where it was called like the bad guys, the shitty guys list or whatever, which I don't want to go that far, because it allows for like anonymous commentary or whatever. But if you have a firsthand experience and it's verified of someone being an asshole, I want to know. Yeah. I want to know.
Yeah.
Like
remember how James Corden almost got canceled for like ordering an omelet rudely?
Yeah. Yeah. So no. Yeah. So I think there has to be 3 examples of them being rude. You can't just do a James Corden where it's like, I want my omelet like this once and you get captured on camera, because everyone can be rude once. But if you are, I'll just say one. I'll say one. Christopher Maloney, is that guy's name?
From SVU.
Yeah, someone I worked with said he's one of the biggest assholes they've ever met in the world. He was rude to everyone, screaming, a tyrant, mean, horrible. And I think
he has good PR then.
Yeah, he's got great PR.
He's beloved.
Whatever the hell he's doing, but he's he treats people like shit. And I think that we should know that, because these, like Bill Murray, when you found out Bill Murray is throwing mugs of coffee at people's head on set and screaming at them, it's like, I'd like to factor that into my love of Bill Murray. Yeah. If I love his movies, I have to take into account that right after that scene, he was screaming belligerently at someone and getting in a fight with the director.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like that one doesn't surprise me. I feel like whenever someone has a ton of mystique, it's like,
it really surprised me. I really could have thought Bill Murray was like a very good person. Like I really thought there was a possibility that his humor, he's so funny that could have lent him to be like a jovial, good-spirited person in real life, but it's the exact opposite. Yeah. Like a monster. Yeah. Well, that's why when Aziz was doing a comeback movie, like he was going to make a movie and he's like, I'm back, I'm not soft canceled anymore or whatever. He's like, and it's going to be starring Bill Murray. And then Bill Murray got on set and he's throwing cups at people's heads and screaming and grabbing asses on set. They had to shut down production. That movie is not coming out anymore.
Aziz can't catch a break. I forgot about him. I haven't said that name out loud in years.
He one of our Villa Rosa VIPs reminded me. They said, well, I don't want to spoil what's in the Patreon, because that's our sacred
behind
space.
The gates.
But it was a good Aziz story. I don't think
I need to check it.
Yeah, I don't think Aziz is a horrible person. I've worked with Aziz and he was nice.
He's like whatever, but he's just like douchey.
Yeah, and he's kind of he seems like he has a little bit of douchey energy, but I think he's a good person. I think he's whatever. What the hell are we talking about? Aziz and Christopher Maloney.
Okay,
Should we talk
speaking of douchey,
Wha-
Nick
oh.
Viall.
Well, okay. I knew you wanted to talk about Nick Viall and him starting a new enterprise of a podcast network.
Yeah.
The one thing I do want to say is that if he is starting a new podcast network, I do want to sort of couch our full takes to allow for the possibility of getting on that media network. So do you mind if we, with a grain of salt, not fully shit on Nick
No,
Viall?
I mean, I would love to be represented by the Envy Podcast Network Media
Is that what it's called?
Solutions.
Envy Media Solutions. Yeah. So what Amy is talking about, in which now I sort of want to strike the record of any time I've ever said something bad about Nick Viall before. I actually think he's sort of a interesting.
He's hunky.
He's handsome. I loved his appearances on The Bachelor.
World Toughest Test. He won.
And I love his ability to not watch any Bravo show and have no connections to the Bravo universe, but still maintain a 3-hour interview with people about a subject he knows nothing about. And when they say a name, he's able to sort of say, "Oh yeah, I totally know who that is," and just nod with a blank stare, pretending. Anyway, why we're bringing this up is that Dana, what was Dana's last name?
I have no idea.
Dana, famously from Vanderpump Rules season 8, and Katie Maloney, who who I cherish, are starting a podcast. So Katie had a podcast before. It was called the Katie Maloney Hour, but that is scrapped, and now it's a Dana and Katie enterprise together, and it is going to be a part of the official new Nick Viall Envy Media Network.
Yeah. Did it say what it was called?
It's called Disrespectful.
Oh.
I think it's called Disrespectful.
What's the concept? Is it just a chat?
I think Katie, when she was left to her own devices and on her own, it's very hard, I think, to host a podcast on your own.
Yeah.
Because you're just speaking in a vacuum and there's no one to have wonderful repartee with.
Yeah.
Like, sort
I
of.
know. I always think about when I listen to, shout out Danny Pellegrino, I'm like, sometimes I will just like take a step back and be like, he's by himself.
Oh, I've actually never listened, and I didn't realize that he doesn't even have a co-host or anything.
He's funny, and I'm like, it's almost like I'm not comparing him, but like Robin Williams energy, where he's just like
he can do
joking with himself.
That's awesome. I had no idea that he doesn't have a co-host and he just does it on his own.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes every now and again he'll interview someone or whatever, but generally it's totally just himself, and I'm like, whoa.
So I think Dana will be. So say what you will about Dana on season 8.
Worst season of all time.
Strongly did not think that was the direction that Vanderpump should have gone in, and it proved to be a horrendous decision. And the Vanderpump Rules cast proved that they can provide way more entertainment than anyone that they would try to shoehorn in.
Sure.
But I think that Dana was funny, even though I didn't appreciate. I think she just got lumped in with Max and Brett as like this next generation, and so I resented the fact that they were trying to shove out the old cast.
Yeah.
But Dana on her own, I do think had a good sense of humor, and I think she could provide a good what's a sounding board with Katie.
And she's actually friends with all of them. Like every time we've gone anywhere, she's there.
Yeah. So when we isolate this clip to send Nick Viall of how much we also want to be a part of the network, I will say I think that Katie will be helped immensely by having a partner, and Dana I think is a good fit. But also, I don't think every Bravo celebrity does need to have a podcast.
Yeah.
I
feel like, do you think that the podcasts are part of the Bethany clause?
Having one?
Yeah.
You know what? I think it might be a loophole. I think it might be a loophole that they're all using now, because I really don't think Bravo got profited off reasonably shady, because they would have been like, well, make this a collaboration with us or whatever, and let us release the audio and have a special of you guys filming, talking about this. I think it's a loophole, and then new contracts, because podcasts are pretty new enterprise. The fact that they've been doing all of them, this might be out of the clause.
Yeah. Do you think though that you would think when they have them renegotiate their contracts or whatever, that they would add in something like, you're not allowed to talk about like spoiler stuff on your podcast?
I'm sure that is a part of their contracts.
Yeah.
The confidentiality agreements, they probably can't talk about anything from a season that hasn't aired yet on their podcasts. But yeah, I think that the reason why Bravo got that Hot Mic podcast was just to have a place where behind the scenes stuff can be shared, and it wasn't, and no one else was getting money for it.
Yeah. I haven't even seen, I
Neither.
think this Sheena one was the only one I ever saw a clip from. But are they still doing it? Is it like weekly? I don't even know.
I don't know, but my advice to the Bravo hot mic, you just got to keep going. But Alex Baskin, I mean, like his mother, Carol, I don't know 100% if he's a podcaster. It's just hard to
Right.
start a podcast. You and I
Yeah.
did it, and it's one of the most, beautiful things that humanity has ever received, but it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's work, which is why I'm like, how long can Katie do it for? If
Yeah.
she's also trying to open a sandwich restaurant, which now what the hell is happening with that? With Chicago on Broadway for months?
Well, so now it's been far enough along to where there's no reason to open it before the next season starts, to get all of the you get to have the opening and everything be this summer.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
It's just like year after year it's going.
I think now there just is not a reason to open it in March. If you
Are they just paying rent this whole time?
we don't know.
They must.
Well, yeah, I guess, but
That's like so many tens of thousands of dollars they've spent.
yeah, I mean, the one negative thing I'll say about it is that a huge part of the appeal of Katie and Ariana opening it up was like, look how fast we can get this shit done. And Schwartz and Sandy's was languishing, in purgatory for 2 years or whatever. And then it's like, okay, well, no, it's obviously much harder than anyone thought. you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But they also got completely fucked by the West Hollywood new rules about not having signage and a patio on that street. So
Yeah.
they had some, but that's probably true of any business.
Sure.
Probably new permitting shit happens all the time. You're like,
Yeah.
this sucks.
Yeah. And then they said originally that they were going to have wine, right?
I think they were gonna have White Claws and beer and wine, which I guess
Yeah.
White Claws fall under beer.
It's easier to get a wine and beer license than a liquor license.
Yep. Yes.
Right. That's like whenever you go to a restaurant and they have like Bloody Marys and they're like, it's with soju. And you're like, no.
Oh, I didn't know that was a little little loophole to
Yeah.
pretend you have liquor.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
I don't order-
I'm always like, no, thank you.
No, thank you. I don't want soju.
All right. Well,
I'm stunned that whatever. I mean, we did
it
better
was
than
many
we did.
weeks of news
Okay,
consolidated.
do you want to say really quickly, because I do think I think just for our little turtle cuties, Amy and I both decided that Southern Charm and Beverly Hills were not up to par with anything that Salt Lake City brought this
Sure.
week, and don't deserve to be delved into deeply. So they're very time dependent. But Salt Lake City is going to be our major focus. So we're going to start with Salt Lake City. But before we take our first certified turtle piss break of the new year, can I ask you what you thought about Vanderpump Villa?
The trailer. Or,
Just the trailer and the concept and everything about it, and then I have my opinions pretty solidified
Okay.
after, but I want to hear what you have
well,
to say.
firstly, we were surprised to see it's on Hulu, which you would think it would be on Peacock. That seems like a slam dunk, no?
I feel like Hulu is a hybrid of NBC and Disney, and it's like it's all networks. Like everyone owns a stake in Hulu, so something going on Hulu, it's just like Peacock. It's just
Who
like
owns a stake?
I think isn't Hulu owned by like all 3 networks? Or
I thought
4?
it was just Disney, no?
Oh, Disney just bought it?
I thought that happened.
Oh,
If anything, they're going to like sell it,
maybe you're right. Okay, so just Disney owns Hulu. Okay, all
which
right.
is why it is like sort of like a no man's land, because now that they have Disney Plus, it's like, what do they need Hulu for?
Right. Okay. All right. So yeah. So that's why like Hulu's content was just going to get folded into Disney Plus. So Vanderpump
Right.
Villa might eventually in 5 years just be on the Disney Plus
Right.
homepage.
But it just doesn't make sense. I mean,
So there's no
that seems like a bad
NBC
sign that Peacock doesn't want it, because you would think if you have Lisa Vanderpump on a thumbnail in Peacock, that's a slam dunk.
well, I mean, I'm starting out 2024 being horrible, but Lisa had many a spinoff that happened that we've all come to forget. There was one where she was hosting Joel McHale and
Oh, yeah.
Anna Faris at her house doing almost this exact same thing, but just
Yeah.
having like tea with people. And I watched it, and it's not the like
It should just be on YouTube, basically.
Yeah, Bravo deserves all the credit for creating the universe in which these Bravo celebrities that we love exist in. And when they go outside of the Bravo universe, I know I've said this in 2023. They don't know Jax on House of Villains. Like I heard people watch that and they're like, "Who's this Jax guy? He's boring as hell. Why is he included as the villains?" And it's like, you don't know Jax.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what Bravo has done to him and what he offered us on Vanderpump Rules. And also, they're not very soundbitey. They're not like they don't fit in a normal celebrity environment. They're so good within the Bravo universe, and that's because Bravo brings a tone that makes them shine. And I think Lisa going outside of this, as much as she wants to be away from Bravo, this shit sucks.
Yeah,
it's gonna suck.
It looks bad.
I'm glad you said it. I thought I was gonna be a little stinker on
There was
an island.
like nothing in the preview at all.
I don't care. I don't care.
Can we just not watch it?
I mean, I just think I've said this about. I know Special Forces was good. I know Dancing with the Stars was good, subjectively good. But it's just like the Bravo universe gives so much. Why do we have to add more? And I think it taints the brand of these Bravo celebrities to try to do shit outside because no one knows how to make them shine like Bravo.
Yeah.
And this Vanderpump Villa shit, I mean, yeah, I don't want to see her have a Bethany style B shot or whatever the hell that Bethany show was.
Yeah.
Game show, competition shit. That is not what makes Lisa Vanderpump a star.
Yeah.
That's just not her forte.
Did you ever watch Vanderpump Dogs?
No, did you?
Anyone on Earth watch that show?
No, and that's what I'm saying. It's like Lisa wants to be outside of the Bravo universe, I guess, and show that she can not be just relegated to Beverly Hills and Vanderpump, but it's not, I don't know, it's not working. Unless she just had a spinoff called Ken and Lisa at Home at Villa Rosa, I don't know if these formulaic things work.
Yeah. Did you see the pictures of them on New Year's? And Ken looked so young and happy.
Those photos were awesome.
Yeah.
You sent that or you posted on
Yeah.
Turtle Time. I was like, God damn, they look so fun and happy. I wanted to go to that party so
know.
bad. Ken was like, it looks, the way that they shot it, he was like, the flash was on. He was
Yeah.
happy as hell.
He was like really joyful.
That was beautiful. And I'm not, Lisa Vanderpump can't get enough praise for everything in the world. I just think that, why are you making us, I don't know, why do you need more? Why?
Yeah.
Why do you?
I know. Maybe she feels like her role on the show, Vanderpump Rules, has waned and that she needs to have personality in other places. Because
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know how much money she could possibly be making off of that other show.
There is a world where Lisa goes back to Beverly Hills and maintains her power and has 30% or 40% of the focus of that show and only dips into the world of the other cast members, and it would still work. I think.
Watch out, Kyle.
Watch out, Kyle. Yeah, I guess I'll save my Beverly Hills thoughts. I thought this was a true, I've liked this season, but I think it's sputtering.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that we're almost potentially done with the season is a very bad sign with what they've given us, and it needs something.
Yeah, I saw there's going to be more Anna Marie next week, and I was like, that's not what I want to see.
Imagine Anne Marie thinking that she should bring up the esophagus thing again as like
God.
the one thing that she's known for this season after the horrible hatred she got for the first time she brought it up, but she didn't know.
It's too late.
She didn't know, so now she's gonna make esophagus her like one thing.
Yeah.
That is the worst situation.
In the preview, she's like, you can make that excuse to like the layman, but not with me. And I'm like, no one gives a fuck what's going on with Sutton's esophagus.
Even Sutton doesn't like want to talk about her esophagus anymore. She brought it up once, and it's probably
That's
real.
like being like, you said you have eczema, but guess what, honey?
Yeah.
That's not what that rash is. It's like, okay.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I brought up my rash. I thought it was eczema. Like, please don't talk to me. And I liked when Sutton said, "Are you my doctor?" It's like,
Yeah.
don't talk about medical shit.
HIPAA violation.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, so we got to that hour point. I love that. Let's both take our
Piss?
piss.
The first piss. I haven't pissed in 2024.
I was just gonna say, I've been waiting to
I'm
piss.
filled to the damn brim.
What day is it? It's January 4th. I haven't pissed once. I've been limiting my liquids, and so I'm ready for a huge blowout in there. Are you?
Might have to flush twice.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do our first huge certified turtle piss break of 2024, and then get back to Salt Lake City, which we haven't touched on it, right?
I haven't scratched the surface.
Oh, I'm ready to scratch. Okay, let's go. We're back.
How do you feel?
I can't believe it. 4 full days of what? Piss?
Yeah, it was like 3 minutes long.
That was I can just say it, I guess, for our little turtle cuties, but we took way longer than we normally take for that certified turtle piss break.
Yeah.
Did you know that people have started doing the certified turtle piss break challenge, where whenever we do it, they make their bodies have to go pee as well?
I love that.
Isn't that sweet?
I was just watching old Roni because you guys, I'm on season 8. That's how much I've
No
watched.
way.
Yeah.
Whoa, we haven't talked about that. So you started at the beginning.
Season 3.
You started at season 3?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you started Scary Island
Yeah.
era.
Around there, yeah.
Okay. And then now you're on season 8?
Yeah. I just like whenever I'm binging or like watching an old show, that's all I watch. And since we didn't really have to watch a ton of Bravo because it just wasn't on,
Right.
that's just all I watched the whole break. And so, yeah, I watched a fuck ton.
So if I remember correctly, I mean, I consider Roni to be good from season 1 to season 12.
Yeah.
But was it as powerful as I remember season 3 through 8?
Yeah. I will say you can really feel the loss of the No Bethany seasons. Like I was just like counting the minutes to get back to season 7 when the bee is back.
Okay.
Not that it wasn't good, but like she really just brings a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I the Bethany, like Dorinda era.
Yeah.
When they're both on together with
Yeah.
Ramona and
I'm watching like Bethany's feud with John Badessian.
Yeah.
I watched the other day, and it was wild.
yeah, I'm ready to I should have taken the opportunity when we were on a break, but I want Roni to be, also I want to do a full-blown deep dive rewatch too.
Yeah.
Just because of how much joy it's brought me.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, I started at season 3, so I could rewatch 1 and 2, but I feel like Scary Island, I'm always like, are we, resting on our laurels, calling that the best thing ever? Like, it's just such an obvious choice as like the best of the best.
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah, it's great. What are the other contenders again? It's Scary Island. It's the
Scary
limo,
Island.
right?
Oh,
Table
yeah.
flip.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you're talking about the top 10 most powerful moments.
Beauty Lab and Laser, Fed Sweep,
So
and then
now-
maybe this.
So now Salt Lake City
Salt Lake
has
City?
2?
I think so.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because, as we've discussed at the beginning, we thought it sucked.
Yes. Okay. All right. So
Let's just
talk-
jump in.
Yes. So we haven't talked about Salt Lake
No.
City at all. We've been very good about
Mum.
not even. We haven't even said.
I haven't watched your live
Yeah.
or your TikToks because I wanted to keep it fresh.
I just said you'll be stunned.
Yeah.
And so I'm asking you for the first time. How did you feel about that Salt Lake City finale?
It was extremely fun to watch. It had not been spoiled for me. I know that I had listened to certain people talk about it who clearly knew what it was, but they didn't spoil it. Like Danny Pellegrino and Matt Rogers, I think knew because they said, we all kind of knew about the, her owing Heather Beauty Lab and Laser money.
We all knew that.
that.
Yes.
But I was like, that's not like that big of a deal. So this whole time I kind of always thought it was just going to be that she was like suing Heather or some bullshit like that, which I was like, we'll see what happens. Maybe it'll be wild, but I was kind of like, whatever. Like, and then when it turned out to be I had heard there was going to be a secondary thing, but I didn't really think much about it. And the way that it went down was very fun. And I feel like, this Monica woman is just a diabolical figure.
Yeah. So the exact same thing as you, where I thought when Heather, they've been showing glimpses of, or little sneak peeks of Heather saying it's her. I was like, okay, that is referring to Beauty Lab calling her and saying that Monica owed $6,000 to Beauty Lab and was suing her for
Yeah.
something. Was suing her for botched
Right.
Beauty
That's what
Lab
we had
appointments or whatever. So I was like, okay, that's going to be a decent revelation. I'm interested in how that will, play out. But I didn't have like high hopes for what was going to happen. But then when like Andy Cohen was like putting a countdown on Instagram being like, get ready for the finale. And people were like gearing it up. So I was like, okay, I guess this Beauty Lab thing is going to have more ramifications than I even imagined or whatever. But the Beauty Lab was like absolutely completely secondary to what we actually learned. I mean, it was just a small little piece of this finale.
Yeah. It basically just was additional evidence that she uses like false names and shit.
Right, exactly. So, okay, so I mean, I assume you loved it.
Yeah, it was really fun. I need to like dig in more. Like, there's a lot of like logistical stuff that's a little confusing.
I want to talk about it. I watched it again. There's logistical stuff that I like do not understand.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk about this. I'm kind of glad that we're like a few days removed, because when I watched it, I was like just passionate and I was stunned and I didn't know what the hell I was saying. I was just like, this is unprecedented.
Yeah.
This is shocking. But now, I've had time to sit with it a little more, and it's like the hype is it's still there.
Yeah.
But it's like, but now we can talk about it in a calm time.
Yeah. And there are multiple little news pieces that add color.
Yeah. So I know, but yeah, I felt the exact same way, where the shock of not knowing what was going to happen. I don't think in this contemporary world you can still shock people, because you hear about feuds or like I already think I know that Melissa and Teresa have a blowout at a thing from just a Page 6 article that came out. Like, nothing is so shocking.
Yeah.
This was
it was a full Scooby-Doo like unmasking.
That's how I felt. It was like, what the hell? It was like a mystery. Like it was like she was unveiled as a person that they all knew, that like was operating behind the scenes. Like and that's why I said at the beginning, it's like, I don't think this can ever happen again, because it will never be shocking like this. That like someone who was a full-blown Bravo superfan was cast on the show, but didn't tell them.
Yeah.
That she knew everything about them, that she'd been reporting on them, that she'd been going to all of their businesses probably, that she was working with Jen Shah as like a secret agent.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But like, we knew she worked for Jen Shah.
We knew, but that was all that was teased out. That was all that she was teased out. She wasn't saying that I was contributing to stories and leaking stories about Jen Shah. And we knew that there was something with the Jen Shah relationship, but we had no idea that the extent to which she was like a mole in Salt Lake City, reporting on everything they were doing at all times. Yeah. That's shocking.
Yeah. I guess I wish that I had, so what was it called again? It's what's the
Reality Von Teese.
Reality Von Teese is the account that it's revealed that Monica has, if not fully but partially run for years.
I'm going to make the assumption that Monica was more of the creator of that account and facilitator of all of that information. Yeah. I think that was a way to get out of the full brunt of their wrath. But
well, now we need to eyes on Tanisha. Where has she been this whole time?
She has been talking about it, and she says that she has evidence and proof that Monica was more like that. Monica,
the mastermind.
It was the mastermind behind this account, and
I wish that I had a little more context for that account. Like, I've seen some people that I follow who said that they have historically followed it and that they were a little less rocked by it, because they were like, I agree that I don't think it's that shocking that Monica is publicly talking shit or revealing items about Jen Shah, because she hates Jen, felt betrayed by her, felt abused by her, and had obviously like firsthand evidence as someone that worked by her side.
Yeah.
So I feel like that part of it, if it was only like a Jen Shah revealed account or something, that would be like less shocking. And the reason they were also shocked is because they said that there have been stories about them on there, which I haven't seen. So I don't, if I knew exactly what they were talking about, that would be more interesting.
The second time I watched it, because I was just like blown away the first time, and I accepted the reality of Reality Von Teese, where I was like, this is a person who was running a troll snark account about all of these cast members, who was going to Beauty Lab probably and reporting on it, like you and I, except we're public about who we are. We don't do anything anonymously.
We're not anonymous.
So we have reason to take accountability for our actions, and
Yeah.
we don't like go to Sir and steal candles and talk about it, because
Yeah.
Lisa would be like, those two people stole from me, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so they are anonymous. So I think that still the revelation that there's a person who is so entrenched in Bravo lore and who reports on them is a big deal. But I did want to know more about specific accusations that she made, because when the producers tried to put up the things that she specifically said about
Yeah.
Heather and Whitney, I feel like most of that stuff had been taken down. So I feel like they know more about what Reality Von Teese did to them than producers got to see.
Yeah.
Because when the evidence they supplied, I was like, okay, are you guys so upset just because she lied to you, but mostly her focus was on Jen Shah? Or did she specifically say horrible things about Heather,
Right.
Meredith, Whitney?
Yeah.
I mean, they
Because
had
the
one
example they showed of Angie K responding, it was about like Angie H.
Yeah.
And I was
And
like, I don't really care about that.
Yeah, and of course Angie K at a certain point, like, she obviously loves, this show. We know she's probably a fan. She didn't have a Finsta or whatever.
Right.
But so when she sees stories about how horrible Jen Shah is or Angie H is, like, she's like, we've seen how well versed Bravo celebrities are in accounts that talk
yeah.
about them. Like,
Yeah,
they
that's historically since the like Twitter and Instagram days, so many storylines are built off of people liking tweets or
Yeah.
agreeing with meme accounts.
Yes.
Like that causes drama. That's always been the case.
Yeah. So I do, like you said, I do wish that we had more firsthand examples of why they were so rocked for this, but I just have to believe that there are things that Reality Von Teese said about all of them, because even Monica admitted there was collateral damage. I'm sure when Heather was riding for Jen Shah, there was a lot of anti-Heather shit. So I think that, and also like Monica doing the Beauty Lab shit and stealing from Meredith. Like, there are real world examples of what she did that I understand why it was so impactful. And I sort of very quickly understood the impact of Reality Von Teese, even though I'd never known that account existed.
Yeah.
I just know that this is the world we're living in.
Yeah.
And
I will say a part of it makes it feel like the scandal is that it's I mean, I guess it's ultimately that she's like kind of a con artist, but also it's kind of shocking that the Bravo vetting process didn't catch that.
but how would they?
I don't know, but it's like that is a shocking thing.
Yeah. But okay,
But
let's,
it is like, I understand why so many people online are like, they knew. You know what I mean? Even though
Well,
there was a news item.
I haven't seen a lot of that, actually. I haven't seen. Okay, so let's talk about it, because if that's the big question, first off, I just want to do a thought experiment. If you or I applied to be on a show or were connected enough to Ariana to be on Vanderpump Rules and they were vetting us or whatever, obviously they would take into account having a Turtle Time podcast where people would be like, these two people are fans and they went to Sir and Pride. Like, we probably wouldn't be good candidates to be cast.
Yeah.
But if I had a secret account called Vanderpump Drools, and it's about the fall of Vanderpump, and I didn't have Turtle Time, but I was an anonymous figure called Vanderpump Drools, and I went to Sir every single day, like calling up Peter, talking about how Sir stinks and the food sucks and Vanderpump is so past its prime, and James Kennedy, grabbed that person's ass at a club or whatever. If I was dedicated to taking down Vanderpump Rules, I don't know 100% how producers would know that I was doing that.
Right.
I would have a vanderpumpdrools@gmail.com. I would have a completely different account. I would have a different photo.
Right.
I would never associate myself with it at all. It's hard to know that. So I can,
sure.
and Monica is crafty as
Yeah.
hell. Monica is. This was like, now I want to watch the entire season. Be like, Monica, you know everything about these people. You know everything about your cast member. You know everything about Salt Lake City history and probably every other Bravo show. You're like a robot created for I guess you have all of the Bravo knowledge within you, and this is how someone would operate if they knew everything about Bravo and were pretending like they didn't.
Right. Yeah, it's the thing it's like psychologically interesting, because this whole time I was sort of like, her mom is a psycho. Like, she's dealing with a psycho mom, but I think her psycho mom bred a psycho daughter, and they're both psycho together.
Yeah.
To bring our favorite phrase back, folie à deux.
Folie à deux. I agree. They are just so much like, what did we think, or what does that mean again? Twin folly?
Yeah, it's like two people shenanigans
Did
together.
you watch the video that I don't
Yes.
know why Monica recorded it, if she's the one who was filming it, if her and her
Yes.
mom.
Like, who leaked that?
I think she said she sent it. I don't know. I don't believe anything that Monica says.
It's coming from so many different angles. That's what's confusing. But there's a video on like TikTok or Instagram, whatever you can find, that I saw last night, that it's after the Greek
Yes.
brunch
Which
lunch.
The aftermath of that brunch seems wild. Monica fell down some incomplete stairs.
Yeah,
bruised
which they
her
barely
legs.
talked about on the show.
No, and then had a screaming match again with her mom, which is par for the course. But what was interesting about this is that her mom, Linda,
Yeah.
is talking about the show.
Yeah.
like
Like a stage mom, which I'm sure that if we had hidden cameras, every housewife of all time has had these conversations.
All of them.
But we don't like to think about it,
No,
or I don't.
No,
And-
I bet Meredith and Lisa, after every single scene or whoever, be like, that came off good. You came off bad.
Yeah.
Like, you looked pretty lame there. I'll just say it.
Yeah, it's Monica and her mom screaming at each other about that they like fucked up the scene, or like the mom is like, your job is to get camera time and like do whatever means necessary. And
And mission accomplished. Monica was the full focus of Greek Easter brunch.
Totally.
Everything was dedicated to her and her mom.
But it was like down and dirty. I mean, it sounds diabolical to watch people talk that way,
Yeah.
even though it's obviously very common. Like, I was just watching I think it was season 7 Roni reunion, where it's revealed that Luann cheers the group to take Bethany down.
Oh, man.
And
Yeah.
that was not on camera. And that always happens where people reveal, like, you told us not to film with her,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, that's super common. But for some reason, in this context, it feels so dirty and like murderous or something. Like, it feels like plotting.
It just shows. Well, so now we know Monica is so well versed in the tropes of Bravo and what works, that it makes everything she did on the show suspect.
Yeah.
And her mom seems like she's just as well versed too. So to me, it casts doubt on their relationship. I mean, Linda always did seem sort of like actory and performative to me,
Yeah.
and I couldn't place why I thought that was. Either she was awkward on camera, or she just has this actory affectation when
Yeah.
she's on camera. But now I'm like, Monica, you knew that this relationship is perfect fodder for a Bravo audience, and we
Right.
absolutely. I loved those scenes. They were as impactful as anything else that Salt Lake City did. I mean,
Yeah.
you could say that Monica and her mom was the best part of this season up
Yeah.
until the finale.
I
I
mean-
just don't know how calculated that is.
Right. Because, well, in this video, they're fighting, like gnarly fighting, but that's also being recorded.
Yeah, right. I was just going to
So
say,
it's like-
Monica's filming this.
So
And why were you?
are we
why
being
was
like
she filming this?
triple conned?
I think now everything that Monica did on camera is completely suspect. And I love the little glimpses they gave in this finale of Monica, sort of the veneer falling a little bit when she's like, I knew you guys wouldn't create, fake accounts. That's something I would do.
Right.
And it was like, whoa,
They
damn.
were like, what?
Yeah. Did you really say that? So it's, I
mean,
guess,
Meredith has big vindication here.
totally. Oh, the core 4 were all like vindicated. It showed to me. Well, should we talk about the specifics and then
Sure.
like
I mean, I feel like we can basically
skip them going on scooters?
yeah, and just go to like the 1 hour later. I did think the last thing before that happened was that Monica used her credit card for Heather and Angie, and it got declined, which I thought was funny.
Well, I
But-
wanted to say that I like that too. I wanted to say specifically that producers just said that they're not in on this,
Yeah.
this thing at all. But I had the statement pulled up, but I just completely lost it. So maybe we can go back to it.
They said it was like, we had no idea that she was Reality Von Teese. We were completely surprised the way that we were with the FBI sweep at Beauty Lab and Laser.
Yeah.
Which like the Fed sweep, that obviously is a surprise because like the government doesn't fuck with you about like letting you know about
Yeah, they
that.
wouldn't call
Like,
production to be like, do you mind if we film with you at the,
Yeah.
at the Sprinter van? No. And the way this episode, the editing of this episode and the structure and some of the things that they didn't show made me think that they were all reacting to real-time information. The
the
big
cameramen
4-hour
were like
gap.
running.
Yes, I mean, there's scenes where people are like opening the door and shutting the door behind them. There's scenes where, Whitney gets up and you see the 7 crew members that are filming this thing. Like,
Yeah.
this thing was so well orchestrated in such a short amount of time that I really felt the power of Heather getting this information and scrambling to make this the best finale that they could
Yeah.
based off this new information.
I
Like,
knew she was my favorite.
Oh my God! It's the ultimate. Meredith is vindicated, but it's like such a crowning achievement for Heather as the most powerful cast member. I mean, she had 4 hours to structure this thing exactly how she wanted it to go down, and it's perfect. And then the editors, the way that they teased out the information was also amazing.
Yeah. So can we talk about the timeline of like her wanting to figure this out and what steps she took?
Yes. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so you're right. Let's just skip over scooters, even though I thought that it was extremely dangerous of them all to be on those scooters because Monica instantly crashed into a van. I was like,
You
do
could
not.
tell that guy was pissed. He
Yeah.
was like, she was like, yeah, I should probably figure this out so I don't die. Like, and he's like, yeah, you will die.
It looked like she would have died in 30 seconds on the road. She was like about to crash into a bunch of shit.
As someone who has eaten shit off of a scooter in Thailand, I can tell you it is dangerous.
Oh my God, that is so awful. I was like, they shouldn't do this activity. No, scooters. Like,
no, at least get ones that are like 4-wheel.
yeah. Well, and then you said about the credit card thing or whatever, which I guess that was interesting just because people are saying that Monica was not turning on international spending
used 2
or whatever.
cards.
Yeah, she just used a different credit card because one was declined.
Yeah.
Right? That's yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that credit card companies even really do that anymore.
No, I think that they know the minute that you book a flight or whatever that they're preparing for your international spending. So the episode really starts. I mean, I almost think they just had to have the 10 minutes or 15 minutes of filler, naturally, just because I think it wouldn't have filled up enough time with just this last 4 hours. But we get a fourth wall break or whatever where the camera is just down.
Yeah.
And I had questions about that.
Like, what were they doing?
Do they just was that a certified turtle piss break and the cameraman was just like taking a piss and they were sort of just like laying low until the next scene happened, but they
Right.
keep the cameras on for situations like this?
Right.
Which,
Yeah, because it was like rolling on the floor.
yeah, and
Or
obviously,
maybe he like turned it on right before he picked it up.
yeah, like the minute that he heard a phone call or
Yeah.
Heather saying anything, I mean, you could tell that it was like scrappy or not planned because there's like a producer or a PA right
Yeah.
in the shot.
They're like, just go in, just go in.
Yeah, just go in. And then Heather, at this time, we find out that this phone call is the final piece of verification that Heather needed to confirm that Monica Garcia / Monica Fowler, which I think Monica Fowler is her real name.
Yeah.
And she used Monica Garcia because she didn't want any evidence of Monica Fowler being out there because that would link her to Beauty Lab or
Right.
whatever. I mean, the fact that she's using a fake name and has 2 names is already kind
Right.
of a big deal.
Right.
So, and remember that Linda
Yeah,
at
remember
one point
she
says,
at the brunch.
whatever the fuck your name is now.
Yeah, she's like, why do you keep calling me that? That's not my name or whatever.
And then Monica goes, you know my name. It's Monica Garcia. And the mom's probably like, no, it's
Yeah.
not. Your name
That's
is...
when the mom calls guacamole dessert.
Yeah. Oh, that was great. So Heather, that was the last piece that Heather needed to confirm this. And then when the production comes in to get this on camera, I didn't understand fully why Heather needed them out, as if this is like a conversation that shouldn't be filmed. Do you
Right.
think? What did you think her impulse there was, that she wasn't sure what she was going to do with this information yet, and this is a private call?
Right.
But she was really, I mean, obviously, if you're trying to not entice producers, you wouldn't have that reaction on the phone, right? You
Right.
wouldn't be like, it was her.
Yeah.
It was her the whole time. You know what I mean? It's like, it was definitely, it made for a dramatic moment.
Sure.
Her pushing and shoving them away.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she was just like totally overwhelmed and was like, I need to like get my ducks in a row before I deal with you guys.
Yeah, and I guess she kind of did have that moment when Whitney was screaming after her, saying, you exploited my vagina. And she was like,
right.
I need a break from this
Yeah.
too. So maybe she just didn't want cameras when she wasn't fully ready
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
So then this is why I thought the editing was so good, because after Scooters, they sit everyone down at the Bermuda Triangle dinner. And I wanted to ask you, was everything about this was done to capitalize on the new information that Heather learned? So Heather must have told production that I need to have a dinner that represents the enormity of this situation, and I want it with this theme, and I want the dolls that are going to represent who we ask a question about.
Yeah.
And so I feel like this whole thing had very like scramble energy.
Yeah.
Like she first,
she should get a producer credit.
Yes, she first told production, "This is what's going on. I think you need to," which I want to know. Did she actually say, "Hey, I need carte blanche to do whatever I want here, and I'm not going to tell you what's going to happen"?
Yeah.
Or did she prepare them and say, "We need full coverage, full teams. I'm having a dinner, and I am confronting Monica about something"? Because if she didn't tell production, it's even more powerful, and that's why they're going, "What the hell is happening?"
Don't you think it would behoove them? So, like at BravoCon, they had the Vanderpump Rules producer panel, which means that they are open. I know that there's like a special environment for super fans or whatever. But I'm like, don't you think it would behoove them to do like a special where they talk about all of these things, assuming that they really didn't know, and it was like that would make them look good.
Yeah, only
that
if
they pulled it off.
Yes,
you know,
totally. But only if their answers still keep the shroud of mystery that this show isn't overly produced, and that they prompt, and that producers are in the background holding up cue cards that say, "Bring up Monica's mom."
Right.
Which, like, that shit I don't want to know about.
No.
But yes, if this was all hands on deck, Heather's got a huge bombshell that she's going to reveal, and we don't know what the hell it is.
Right. It's like the way they talked about how they had to get cameras up for Sandoval because they had already wrapped filming. Like, that's interesting to know, just logistically. Like, fourth walls are broken at this point, like to a certain degree in special circumstances. So I mean, maybe they'll talk about it at the reunion.
This will warrant production related questions because it's just, and we're already getting more, I think, confirmation than we would, because people are casting doubt on if producers knew. So
and now like Andy having I was gonna say podcast, but it's a radio show. Like, he's starting to talk a little bit more freely than he ever has before. He used to be like super doesn't talk about shit, and more recently, I feel like very recently, he's become a little more chill.
Yeah.
He was talking about, I mean, maybe we talk about this after, but Jen Shaw has responded from prison.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that when we talk about Heather's other big revelation, which is just like another bombshell that I didn't even know we were going to get this episode. So the way it's structured is that we sit down and the audience has no clue what Heather is talking about. We think it's possibly going to be Beauty Lab related, but we know it's geared towards Monica, right? Like, we know this revelation is about Monica, but we're thinking the entire time that it's about, I know that you owe Beauty Lab $6,000, right? So that she starts to discuss, unsolved mysteries. And Heather has had, I guess, 4 hours to think about how she is going to bring this up.
Right.
So she uses the Bermuda Triangle as sort of like the impetus for how she's going to talk about unsolved mysteries within the group. The one thing I had to ask you is that she goes, so they play the doll game, which at this point we find out that everyone who sat down at the table, besides maybe Angie K, already knew this revelation. So that's the big reveal.
Yeah.
That's the big reveal, is that 2 hours before this dinner, before they sat down, Heather had an OG meeting on the beach, which is probably the best scene of the entire episode. Don't you think? That we find out that right before she's about to confront Monica, she told everyone except Angie that
I want to know what her text said to bring them all down, because they all come running. They're like, "Is everything okay?
Come down now. Meet me on the beach. It's urgent."
And they're all like, "Are you crying?" They all start crying before she even says anything.
This kind of stuff, the fourth wall break for me sort of was about the relationship with the cast members. The fact that they are so like such strong friends together, which Heather sort of unveils at the end, that this petty shit that they deal with, they're actually this united front because they've already dealt with the horrors of Jen Shah.
Yeah.
It was actually like a fourth wall break in a way where it's like, don't pay attention to some of the garbage that we all throw at each other, like what Whitney tries to throw at Heather every single day to get storyline shit. We're a united front, and we've been through hell together, and we're never going to let this happen to us again. Like that
Yeah.
friendship reveal was really strong to
She's
me.
like, we've come a long way. I mean, obviously, everyone online is saying it's like Big Little Lies.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't watch Big Little Lies enough to know. Like, except I mean, they all go into it like to kill Alexander Skarsgård and throw him down those stairs.
Well, that happens essentially accidentally, kind of, and they band together as women to like not reveal who did it.
Wow. But then they told the audience.
That's right.
Okay, so then so this part I guess finding out. I mean, for me, like the editing really was hitting so hard is when they sit down, they give us the teeing up for Heather to make the accusation. Then they show what she revealed to the OG cast members 2 hours before. And then we find out that it's Reality Von Teese, that Monica has been Reality Von Teese. And even though I didn't know who that was or what the hell that was, their reaction to her being that was enough for me to be like, oh my God,
Yeah.
Monica's Reality Von Teese, this account I've never heard of in my
Yeah.
life. And then Heather instantly in her confessional tells the audience what this is, what it was. And you find out within 1 second, like I was fully on the side of like, that's a big revelation. I
Right.
don't know who the hell this was, but
Right.
the fact that she's a Bravo superfan takedown account, that's enough for me to
Right.
be as shocked as them on the beach there witnessing that revelation.
Right.
And then Meredith is like, oh my God. Like her reaction is like, she feels, I think, vindicated in that moment, but then also they're all so upset that they're like a group that constantly is getting attacked by outsiders.
Yeah.
And they had the Jen Shah shit. They had Angie H's husband that had a Finsta that was reporting on all of them.
right.
Like they have so many like infiltrator spies in their group
Yeah.
that I felt like Meredith's upset like cry for I'm so tired of people trying to hurt us was her announcing to the world that Salt Lake City like has these like they have
Vultures.
vipers and vultures all around them. Like Salt Lake City is a small town,
Yeah.
and this show provides so much oxygen within Salt Lake City that I feel like no one in the city can help but focus on this when they're filming.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that want a little piece of this that the fact that a takedown account that was fully dedicated to Salt Lake City was in their midst
Yeah.
was like it just racked their brains.
Yeah.
Like it's like who else? Like they already dealt with Jen Shah.
Yeah.
Jen Shah was probably doing this on a daily basis, reporting them to Page 6, talking shit about them. And so now they're like, we finally got over the hump. And then all of a sudden, now it's like Jen Shah 2.0.
Right.
Like it was more a reaction to them all getting past Jen Shah and then having to deal with something like that again that I
Yeah.
felt like made this revelation just as shocking, even though she didn't specifically target them as much.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, there's another Jen Shah here.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think it's nice the way they were all brought together. And I feel like we felt that at BravoCon because we saw it was Heather, Angie K,
And Lisa. We're
Was that
thick
it?
as thieves.
Yeah, the 4 of them, 3 of them.
Yeah.
And they looked so happy together and we were kind of surprised
Yeah, I was
because
like,
we hadn't seen that yet.
yeah, no, like, so, I mean, that means that the Heather and Lisa alliance is still strong, which I've loved seeing their friendship because they are both so powerful and I see what they see in each other and why they like each other. So that's still going strong. And it made me love Angie K, who I was so down on. I was like, she's a flop. She's stirring a bunch of fake shit. But now I think Angie K has resigned herself to be sort of comic relief and
Yeah.
just a legitimate friend. And
Yeah.
that's the angle that Angie K needs to stay in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm fine with a legitimate friend that they like
Yeah.
being in this group.
Yeah.
It was just when she was starting shit that I didn't like her, but I liked this Angie K that we finally got.
Just like a kind of sideline, like positive force. So Heather said that the wheels first started turning because she wanted to go get Monica a gift card from Beauty Lab and Laser for her birthday, the trip that they are on.
And 100% believable. I was
Totally.
like, that checks out. I mean,
Yeah.
you wanted to get her a Beauty Lab thing. And
Yeah.
you found out that there are multiple multiple, right? Like
Yeah.
3?
3 Monicas with different last names, but the same birthday. So I guess like they went to type in like the account of the person that the gift card was going to, and there were like a bunch of them.
So like Monica Fowler. Okay. So she thought it was great to use a bunch of fake names, but didn't want to change the birthday.
Right.
Is that because like
maybe she had, do you think that means she has different driver's licenses or something?
I mean, it's possible because that's the one element I think that you can't fake on all these different IDs.
Right.
Like you can have 2 driver's licenses at the same time. Like if the DMV makes a mistake, I don't want to say specifically who I know who has 2 driver's licenses, but you can get them. It's a DMV mistake. So possibly she had to verify that the birth dates were the same, even though she didn't want to.
Right.
My question is, why the hell was she going to Beauty Lab multiple times because she wanted to report on shit in Beauty Lab, or did she want to take advantage of Beauty Lab?
A welcome offer where if you start a new account you get a free Botox or something.
Yeah, something like that. I was like, was this part of her like boots on the ground reporting that she
Right.
kept going, or did she just really want to take advantage of Beauty Lab, a Salt Lake City cast members store,
Right.
as 3 different people?
Right. And then I'm like, how does their billing work? Like she owes them money, and I'm like, don't you just have to pay with a credit card? Like,
Yeah.
why do they have like layaway?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe the procedures that she did are enough to where you
Payment plan?
payment plan. I don't know, but I thought that was a great way for Heather to start the mystery narrative because it made sense to me.
Totally. And then they start talking about like the weird Angie DMs and how like that whole thing was very weird.
Yes.
And then basically, ultimately, they show a montage of her talking shit about everyone, and you are like, wow, she is like very invested in everyone's like business.
Yes. And then Heather said something. So when Heather was talking about the sex talk, where I was like, Heather, what are you doing with this like high horse about sex talk? But she was like, the way Monica talks about things and lets out information makes me suspicious of her. And the way that Monica was so it was so easy for her to talk about like her having sex with her brother-in-law made me cautious with the information I share with her. And then now when you see all these examples back to back of Monica being so entrenched in the secrets of this cast, you're like, oh, I understand Heather's hesitation here.
Right. Yeah, when she's like, Angie K's husband fucks guys all over town, everyone knows. And it's like, what?
Right. Like you knew that? And then I like that they edited out all the times that Whitney and Meredith were starting to get suspicious of Monica. Like Whitney went up to Heather, and I like this. It's like they were all sort of coming on this mystery together. Whitney goes, did you think it was a little sort of odd timing that Monica got a DM 40 minutes before our dinner about the same shit that her and Meredith supposedly talked about Angie K being in the Greek Mafia? Like, I like that even Whitney was getting suspicious about Monica. And then we see Meredith's conversation with Heather where Meredith goes, and which I feel like they were not including these in the Bermuda trip because they wanted to make this reveal more powerful, obviously. So Meredith says, the only reason I brought up that DM is because that was all the shit that Monica was saying to me. And then within a day, I get a DM verifying all the same information.
Right.
So she thought it was suspicious too.
Right. Do you think that they called Andy Cohen that night and were like, you're not going to fucking believe this?
So how much production was involved? Like, at what point they got involved, I really do want to know. Like we said, did Heather keep them all? I mean, I don't know. Do you have time in 4 hours after you learn this revelation to call Andy and tell producers? Right. And like, would Andy give advice from the sidelines of how to handle this? Like, it seemed ramshackle enough to where I think Heather could have been on her own. Well, you know what? No. I mean, they had 2 hours because production found out when she told them on the beach. So they had 2 hours to be a part of this. But I think I think I have to accept that Heather probably told them the minute after she shoved them out of the room that this was going on. And production had to be a part of this entire thing. Right. And if Andy Cohen is called, it would be because someone from production, called Andy to talk about this, I think.
So then how does she get to the Tanisha of it all? I'm trying to remember that.
So she
Because she said that she confronts Tanisha, and she says that she had a crisis of conscience.
Tanisha was a good friend. She had already heard who Monica was from her friend Tanisha. That was her connection to Monica and how she got cast on the show. The only reason she knew who Monica was because of Tanisha. So she decided to do a background check, character check on Monica through Tanisha. And that's when Tanisha started breaking down and said, I want to hear that conversation.
You know what? She's like, I killed them all, of course. Of course. This is maybe the only comparable thing is the Jinx.
A full-blown Durst in the bathroom.
Burping.
He was. I was like, was he dry heaving? It's like, no, it was uncontrollable burps. It was uncontrollable belching. That's okay.
And she
what
said,
if Monica had done that? What if Monica had started to burp in nervousness at the Bermuda Triangle dinner, just like Durst?
Total Durst.
So Tanisha, folded under pressure. I don't know what Heather said to her, but she said within 2 seconds.
Yeah, she was like, I was there for all of it.
Here are every single DMs that we had. Like they like Tanisha folded on Monica like the quickest that you could ever do. Like it's like. Did not succumb to absolutely no pressure, just outed Monica
She's
completely.
like, okay, fine.
Yeah, we were a part of it. This is all the shit that she did.
Do you think they'll bring her out at the reunion? That would be amazing.
Bring
Tanisha out?
I think they will. I think
That'd be
they'll
amazing.
have to. She's too a part of this finale to not want her side of things.
That's like there's so rarely someone that they have come out that's like a friend of or like a random that's ever necessary.
Right.
And this would be great.
Yeah, that would be so great. And then we find out that so Monica was employed as Jin Shah's assistant, but was constantly leaking videos of Jin Shah having angry tirades at all of her staff. She was driving by her house to show people when Jin Shah was outside, and this was 3 people because Monica names other people that were running this account as well.
Right.
And then Heather has one more thing. So she has the suspicion in the group. She has the beauty lab. What's that called? She's got beauty lab
Fraud.
evidence. And then she calls one last source.
But we don't know who.
Someone at Bravo.
Deep Throat.
A casting director.
Will they ever tell us?
The reason why it's bleeped is because that person has not signed off on, an NDA or has not allowed themselves to be, presented on camera. So someone from production doesn't make much sense unless they didn't want a fourth wall break, another fourth wall break, and they wanted to keep the identity of a producer. But I don't think she'd be calling a producer because I believe that production was not, did not know that Monica ran this Finsta.
Yeah. No, I'm very curious.
So then all of that leads to her telling the group. Then that gets back to our dinner, right?
Yeah.
Where they leave us, want a full tease of what Heather is going to accuse Monica of. But then now we know. But my question is, why the hell and how the hell were the other cast members able to have conversations about anything else other than this ultimate reveal? Why did they let it linger and have this conversation about the word dramatic?
Right.
And who said dramatic
I know.
more?
I was confused until it got to where it was going. I was like, wait, so who knows what? What is happening?
Right. I was
what are they waiting for?
So then there are some things that Lisa did. The second time I watched it, when Lisa goes, I don't have the energy to talk about this anymore. Baby Goose is going to bed or whatever she said. I think, and Meredith is kind of silent too. I feel like a lot of them lose the steam. Only Whitney wanted to bring up her own storyline, just some garbage about her being dramatic, which she obviously was.
Yeah, she has a real appetite for that.
She needs storylines. She is so wants storylines, which I do want to talk about the Heather and Whitney thing, but it's so much less impactful. Yeah. But anyway.
So this is where Heather's like, her doll, I think, is Meredith, and she's like, I'm not using the Meredith doll. Why did she give herself the Monica doll?
That's my main question. I have you did all of this work, and you got the table to be in a Bermuda Triangle to articulate how there's an unsolved mystery within the group, and then you don't have Monica's doll? Did you sit in the wrong seat at the last minute? Or also, we wouldn't have known that was Meredith's doll. You could have just said,
No, yeah. She's like, I actually don't have a question for Meredith. But Monica, I do want that mystery revealed.
Right. It was like but then those little details make me think it's like this is so much more real because of the weird little things that
Right.
happen to get you to this point. It wasn't like a perfect script.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like she had Meredith's doll for some
Totally.
reason. She goes, I don't have a question for Meredith.
Yeah. And then she's like, who is the real Monica?
So at this point, Monica is just like she has to know that the cat's out of the
It's like
bag.
a full femme fatale moment, like at the end of like a noir or something, where Jimmy's favorite joke when something like this happens, he does little gun hands, and it's like, you couldn't leave well enough alone, could you?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
And she's like, Monica is someone who wants to profit from our lives and our pain. And she's like, who you really are is, and it's like blank. And then it was a commercial, right?
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
Commercial break. But so she's revealing it to Angie K. Did Angie K know? Like,
Right.
was Angie K the only one in this entire?
Yeah, she didn't
besides
earn the early reveal.
Right, like so only Monica and Angie K know that this is about to be revealed at this Bermuda dinner, right?
She must have been shook.
Yeah.
And so then, yeah, Heather starts to go hard. She's like, you're an internet troll, a cyberbully. And this is where she does, it was instantly iconic. Like you could
Yes.
tell. It's like they played drums behind each of her words. She's like, receipts, proof, timeline, screenshots, which I didn't realize until I saw it online that that's exactly what Monica had
Yeah.
said previously, because it wasn't iconic when she said it last time.
Yeah. Well. So that lead up was because Heather was so calculated, like and knew what to do to pull this thing off and make it as dramatic as possible. She goes, Monica. She goes like right before she does this reveal. She goes, Meredith, why I didn't stand up for you in the cave. Why I didn't believe you about the thing. It's because I believed Monica. Monica, why do you think we all believed you? And Monica goes, well, I had the timeline, the proof, the evidence, the DMs. And Heather goes, so it wasn't the truth. And she goes, that's what I said. Evidence, proof. And Heather goes, oh, the proof. And so then when Heather does this double down reciting her callback or whatever, she's like, I had exactly what you said you
You're
needed
perfect.
to prove. Yeah, your perfect combination for the truth. I had the proof, the evidence, the timeline. And it was like, I don't know who else in the Bravo universe who could have orchestrated this better.
It was giving
Stassi-
closing arguments.
It was giving closing arguments. It was giving Stassi Vanderpump Rules season 2 finale when she gathered everyone around for that perfect execution of Kristen.
Yeah.
It was like this couldn't have gone better. Besides her having the right doll and it
Yeah.
having Monica's hair,
She should be a party planner.
everything about it was so well executed to the point where I don't think production would have handled it, even if they had all the time in the world to make this what they wanted it to be. It could have been handled better.
Yeah.
Heather did everything for this to bring it to this moment, and she just keeps going. She had this reveal, and then she does even more. She has the we're friends, we're thick as thieves, and we'll survive everything. She has, it's like she just kept adding to the power of this scene. She couldn't stop.
Yeah. Monica's like, that is bullshit. That was never my account. And Heather's like, you are reality Von Teese.
And then you see Monica in the moment. Monica's crafty as hell and smart as hell. And Heather
Yeah,
even gives her
she's
credit. She goes,
surveying her options.
she's like, what do I do here? And she's like, that's not, that's partially true.
She goes, that's not true entirely.
And you're like, what does that mean? And she's leaving a little bit of the benefit of the doubt to blame this on Tanisha potentially,
Right.
to blame this on other people. And then Monica's sort of, what's that called when you have a secret thing in your back pocket?
Mm-hmm.
Her last piece of like what she wants to bring to the table is that when this is revealed, she wants the world to know that all of the Salt Lake City cast members were interacting with this account, right?
Yeah.
And that all of them were using this account to spread gossip and lies about each other.
Right.
So she's holding that in her back pocket, but she doesn't utilize that fully. She
Yeah.
alludes to it. But she says, why is it such a big deal? You all know that you interacted with this. She's saying it more in her confessionals to
Yeah.
us, why this is not such a big deal. And she says specifically that she was there to take down Jen Shaw.
Mm-hmm.
So she's justified interactions because Jen Shaw is a monster.
Right. Yeah. So this is where I feel like it gets sort of confusing. So they're saying it goes back to Monica seeking out Jen on social media to become her assistant to even get into this world in the first place, which, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure. I'm sure. Well, whatever the timeline is, we need to find out the timeline. But
And
I
I'm-
think she just took advantage of her role as an assistant, like Tanisha was taking advantage of her role as a hairdresser
Yeah.
to Heather to provide gossip and stories to people about these people that they're infiltrating. You
Right.
know, in the Salt Lake
I'm
City universe.
Confused about why her being in Meredith's store. I know that she lied about never having been there before, but why is it such a big deal that she went into Meredith's store with Jen Shaw?
Because she's the one who stole the clutch with Jen Shaw when there's security footage of
That's-
Jen Shaw's assistant. If I remember correctly, they all knew that Jen Shaw's assistant came in the store and stole something.
So
and so
they talked about, that's who they were talking about last year before we knew who she was.
Yes. And then
Okay.
to have that on camera, you see Monica very clearly doing that. That makes me think that this whole I'm fighting for justice and I'm fighting against Jen Shaw. When you were with Jen Shaw, you were probably
You were
ride or
also
die
doing
for
crimes.
her, and you were doing shit with her. And you were, even though you're making it seem like, oh, I'm an FBI agent that does crimes just to get to the actual criminal
Right.
or whatever. It's like, I think you were entrenched enough with Jen Shaw to where you were probably doing fucked up shit with her too.
Totally. Yeah. I feel like anyone that was in that household knew what was going on.
Yeah. I mean, really, my takeaway now is like the shocking reveal is that Salt Lake City is a nest of vipers for the Salt Lake City cast, and they have to be so suspicious of every single person they interact with, even more than any other city, because Salt Lake City is such a small town, and it's very much affected by having this show filmed there.
Right.
I think it makes people deranged
Right.
in that city.
I like when she was like, Reality Von Tease was never just one person. Our mission was to take down Jen. The rest were just collateral damage.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
what she says.
That's such a like funny, like bad, like drama murder mystery line.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. She did have sort of like, you know, I'm the villain or whatever, but
Yeah.
like here's why I did it.
I mean, did you see all of her posts? The number of lines on her stories. There were like 400 stories of her reposting everyone saying that she was an icon. She did a whole photo shoot of her like burning newspapers and being like,
Yeah, I know.
the bridges I burned will light the way or whatever.
That's the kind of stuff where I'm like, man, I wish people would chill after an episode and let us revel in the mystery and stuff and not just instantly tell every single secret. Like
Yeah.
when Tanisha was on her stories talking about all this stuff, I was like, man, I want to just sit with this for a second and not have you all revel in your newfound infamy. You know what I
Right.
mean? It takes sort of the fun
Sure.
out of it that Monica is loving this, and she had a whole PR campaign ready to
Sure.
go.
I mean, it's funny though, just knowing, I mean, she has to be done now, right? Like,
Monica?
yeah.
Oh wow. Damn.
You
Well,
think Bravo will bring her back?
Oh yeah.
You
Oh,
do?
Oh, for sure. Oh, absolutely.
You don't think they'll be like, you betrayed us by lying to us?
No, because betrayed.
Who would film with her though?
There's precedent for this. There are people. People have said Brandy was on the outs with the entire Beverly Hills cast, and she had to film a potential redemption season. They could cast a friend of Monica so easily if they want the fallout from this, and have Monica have scenes with someone else, and then little by little, Whitney, who is so starved for a goddamn storyline, will instantly have lunch. It's happening with Tom Sandoval. I mean, there are ways. Monica is clever and crafty and smart enough to figure out how to have screen time on this season, and then they could tease it out to where Heather will finally have to have one scene with her, because if they want their Christmas bonus at the end of the season, they have to film with cast members.
Yeah.
I think Bravo's love of entertainment will far outweigh the fact that they were duped. It's more on the casting director and whoever
Yeah.
they relied on to the casting director than for producers. The casting just got handed up to them. We're trying out this person. She was a shining star. I think this person's good to go. I'm not looking into if they have Finstas or not. Now, though, that will set a precedent for making sure they will verify that no one has ever
Yeah.
done this shit before.
Well, this is why I would love to see a producer panel where is there anyone who thought something, maybe not Reality Von Tease, but like who had watched that footage a million times of the Meredith store that was like, is that that? Because remember on the Vanderpump Rules producer panel, one of the producers had been on maternity leave or something like that. So she had been gone for the whole beginning of season 10. And then she came back and started watching it and was like, what the fuck is going on between Rachel and Tom?
That was awesome.
And because no one else had noticed because they had just been watching it all along, and she came in, watched all of it, and was like, something weird is going on.
Yeah,
so I'm
she
like,
was like,
was there someone that like saw it from a different angle?
When I saw that Monica security footage, I was like, it was just enough to where she had blonde hair.
And
it
a
didn't
mask.
fully look like her, and a mask. I was like, wow. Like, now that I know what she looks like, that is her. But I can imagine people not really reviewing that footage again for this
Right.
season to be like, I think this is
It was
Monica.
irrelevant. Yeah.
I really want to live in the world where I don't think production did this. If I find out that, or knew, but I don't think they did. I feel like
Yeah.
this was a surprise and shock to them because I feel like the finale would have been orchestrated differently had they known the entire time. I felt the timeliness of this reveal.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is like with Monica and her mom, it's interesting regardless because them being diabolical together, planning their own drama while having real drama is also insane.
Yeah.
Like that makes them more insane.
Right.
So it's
Well, I mean, the fact that Monica, besides her telling the world that she had this 18-month affair with her brother-in-law and that her relationship ended because she was cheating, that's not even touched yet.
no, they
I
like
mean,
never talk about
any
it.
other cast member would have their entire storyline be about trying to reconcile with that, have
Yeah.
the brother-in-law be there. Monica didn't even need that.
No, yeah, it's like really been brushed under the rug.
And really, I mean, I have to say, like, yes, for 100%, Monica, I think, is coming back. She has to come back, and people will film with her. People will want the power of Monica. She just made too much of an impact to where they have to have the fallout from this. They could never just remove her from season 5 because her impact is too powerful. She's coming back.
We got to see this reunion.
Yeah,
This is like the perfect scenario for a reunion because there's details that we need
did you
clarity
see-
on.
Yeah, and did you see how like the teaser showed absolutely nothing? It was like Meredith's impression of Whitney. Like they're giving us nothing because I
Yeah.
think it's going to be that explosive when it comes out.
I can't wait. Did you like how one of Angie K's replies to Reality Vonties, one of them was like the 100,
Yeah.
and one of them was like the clap, and then one of them was LOFL. I've never seen that before. LO
Laughing-
fucking L.
Wait, what'd you say it was?
Laughing out fucking loud.
Oh, I like that.
LOFL. I've only seen ROFL.
I would consider it such an honor if Angie ever followed Turtle Time and we got a classic L fucking what is it?
Yeah,
Laughing my
LOFL.
fucking Oh yeah. That was great. Okay, so when I want to on this Heather train of power. I do want to say that so everyone takes a little piece of Monica once it's revealed. Whitney has her moment where it's like she says, "You said things about me," and we're like, "Okay, yeah." She said you're a swinger and that you get new recruits by going to the bathroom with them or something. I was like, okay, yeah, she did talk shit about you. Meredith says you stole from me, and it's like, okay, so everyone has their grievance against Angie K. Tries to. I like Angie K.
Yeah.
But I feel like they maybe should have edited out what Angie K tried to bring to it. All she does is grab a flower bouquet and say, "I don't like you. You talk shit about me." It's like that
Didn't
was such
she
a
throw something at the Mormon lunch too?
yeah. She did. She does things that could possibly be edited out and they would have no impact on the story.
She was like, "I'll throw this bouquet. I swear
Yeah,
to God."
Angie K, we've said it. I like your presence on the show, but everything you think you're doing to gain attention is wrong.
Yeah.
Everything you do that is not to garner attention is good. Your outfits are fun. The humor is fun. Everything you're doing, just don't try to get storylines. Then you'll end up like Whitney, like a craven person who just tries to stir up shit for no reason.
Yeah.
So that's my advice to Angie K, because that was really the one flop moment. I was like, what is Angie K doing here?
Right. So yeah, they're basically asking for clarity. They're like, because she's still trying to say it was Tanisha's account, and they're like, tell us exactly what you did with the account. What was your part of it?
Right.
What did you do it for? Whatever. She admits to the Jen Shaw videos. She's like, yeah, I admit to that. Like, I was trying to take her down. She's a bad person, whatever. Then Lisa Barlow starts, like, she's like, you're such a loser or something like that. And Monica goes ham. She's like, fuck you, you dumb old fucking piece of shit, leather rubbery bitch, Donald Trump hands. What does that mean? Orange?
No,
Small?
Donald Trump I'll just say it. I hope I don't get sued. Donald Trump, infamously, has tiny hands.
Why was that? Is that an insult to a woman?
Because I think she thinks Lisa Barlow has hands reminiscent of Donald Trump's little hands.
Orange little hands.
Yes, but I feel like nothing that, besides the vitriol and how angry and how ready Monica was to go after Lisa, none of the remarks to me stuck.
Right.
It was just like a tirade of insults that she's used 100 times before, besides adding Donald Trump hands,
Sure.
which was a new one.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like, Lisa, don't start with me, you old bitch. Or
Yeah.
whatever. It's like Lisa is so justified in also calling you a loser.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah. And then, they're like, wow, like you did that to Jen. Like you could do it to all of us. And she's basically like, well, then don't abuse your employees then. Like, she's saying she did it to Jen justifiably.
Don't do anything that I would want to call out or whatever. But I get their point that having a spy in the group that would leak out shit and film them in off times or whatever is precarious for these cast members.
Right.
And it makes me also feel like production wasn't in on it, because it would be a liability to put a takedown account amidst the cast members that they think is an organic cast member, and then potentially have that person leaking stories and putting all their shit up on different
Right.
accounts.
Yeah. So Heather, this is like part 2.
Yes.
Heather is saying, she like stands up
Yes.
and is saying, we were all scared of Jen for years. We stood by her side, which a little bit is like, yeah, you shouldn't have.
I'm 100% absolute Heather Gay stan, no matter what. Jen Shaw created a extremely toxic friendship, to say the least, with Meredith and Heather, the people who hung on. They had no idea. I think they were so in Jen Shaw's
cult of Jen Shaw.
Toxic worldview that they really thought there was some plausible deniability there with the accusations against Jen Shaw, that it wasn't until the moment she was convicted that they realized the horror that they had been a part of. Heather went to, talk about fucking ride or die, Heather got a black eye from her and just never admitted it. Waiting for possibly for Jen Shaw to ever admit it on her own.
Right.
That shows you, it's like, I mean, I'm saying it. It was an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
And
little did we know, or did she know, that she was going to have such a beautiful podium at which to reveal.
It was like, I was like, okay, I thought it was going to be Beauty Lab lawsuit. No, she's a reality TV show takedown account, and then also Heather's going to finally reveal, and it's going to sync up perfectly with what they're talking about here, which is like, your energy reminded us of Jen Shaw, and we just got past the Jen Shaw era, and we are united as a front, and we'll never go back to that place again.
Yeah.
I rode for Jen Shaw so hard that I even let her give me a black eye, and I never told. And then Lisa goes, "Wow." Do you remember? Like, they're hearing this for the first time.
Monica's like, well, I'm glad you finally told the truth for once.
That was awesome, because that to me was like, Monica always knew that and probably talked about that on her takedown account all the time.
Yeah.
And like, I liked that it was like, do you see how evil Jen Shaw was? You were ride or die for it, and now you can finally admit the truth. That's what I've been doing.
Right. I mean, we still don't know exactly what happened.
Jen Shaw, I like, she's obviously an awful human, and she had drunken rage freakouts that we probably never even saw, but then some we saw on camera.
Like
and I bet
Kathy
the minute
Hilton.
Heather said like, Jen, can you do something for me for a second? Jen Shaw just punched her in the face. There's no.
It's just very funny to imagine, because Jen Shaw is like 4'3" and Heather is like a very strong woman.
Well, it just shows how awful Jen Shaw was, and how being in her orbit is toxifying and ruins you and ruins your moral compass. And then, I guess let's finish the episode, and then I want to talk about Jen Shaw's statement, which I thought completely landed like a dud.
Right. Well, yeah, basically Heather's like, pack your bags and go. Like, she's been eliminated. And they're basically saying, you don't deserve to sit at this table. You're trash, basically.
Yeah. You got here under false pretenses. like you don't belong on this cast. I mean, it's like Heather was making the casting call, like you won't come back for another season.
Yeah.
Leave now, but she doesn't have that authority.
Yeah, and Monica says, even Gossip Girl couldn't stay Gossip Girl forever.
And then she walks right into the ocean.
Yeah, walks right into the sea. And in her confessional, she's saying that, like, there's more to the story. And she's like, and trust me, you're all going to want to hear it.
Yeah. And more to the story, you know, she's a entertainer, and that's what made her so good on this season. She's alluding to the fact that all of them potentially, which that will be, you know, huge bombshells if we find out Whitney is like, hey, Heather said an offensive slur when she was drunk with me or whatever. You know, like,
Yeah.
if we do find out behind the scenes details that they were using this account to take down each other, that's going to be a big deal.
Be juicy. It appears that Monica brings a Mean Girl style burn book to the reunion,
Now,
which
is that-
everyone groans at.
Yeah, is that Bravo sanctioned? Because Bravo just released a Mean Girl full
yeah.
like PR campaign, so the timing of that. I mean, it looks
Is
exactly
that
like-
Spawn?
Yeah. Did we? I feel like we did this. We did it justice, right?
Yeah, we went through it.
Well-
So yeah, Jen Shaw somehow posts. Does she post on Instagram from jail, or is this the first time?
I think you just call. I mean, obviously, I like.
Call someone. And
I
have them do
mean,
it.
there are rappers that are recording albums from jail, so I don't know what it's like. Like, you can hand off a USB, you know, and record on the mics in a, you know, in jail.
Yeah.
But you can just call. You could just call someone, and have them post for you.
Sure.
Obviously, and like whatever. Or maybe she has access to the computer for a second. I don't think you would, because especially her, you wouldn't want her near a computer. Possibly like make fraudulent deals.
Maybe they have computer labs.
What?
Yeah, maybe they have a little computer lab in there.
Yeah. They do. They have like. I don't know. I mean, we're going to go to see, we already said we're going to go see Jen Shaw and talk about this with her, but her statement, I can just recite it. It was so shitty. It was
Yeah.
the worst justification for why it was not her. She goes, if I gave Heather the black eye, don't you think they would have filmed it? It's like, no, they can't film everything.
Yeah.
They don't film everything. Things happen off camera.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like 5 a.m. You guys were all drunk and
Yeah.
production was sleeping.
Yeah.
Like they have her on the CCTV camera or the security footage just coming into her room after the black eye, but
Yeah.
they didn't film it.
Yeah.
And then she goes, and also, if I had punched someone in the eye, would Andy really want to have a one-on-one interview with me post my sentencing?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, he would, obviously.
Yeah.
More than anything in the world.
Yeah.
Like,
He answered to these things on his
Yeah.
radio show. He was like, first of all, he was like, I just got scammed. I don't know if you followed his saga,
Yeah.
but he got scammed,
That was
like a
wild.
banking scam where they like called him about fraudulent charges. And, you know, be careful out there, you guys. The technology is getting very good.
yeah.
But anyway, so he's now particularly pissed off at people that scam people. So he hates Jen even more now.
Yeah.
He said, Jen, you know, trust me, if we had the footage, we would have aired it. We didn't have it.
I mean, it goes without saying.
Sure.
Obviously.
And then he said, I totally forgot about that whole one-on-one thing. He said that her demands were insane for what she wanted it to be. And also she was still lying at that point. So ultimately it would have been a total waste of time because she lied to him for 2 reunions worth.
Jen Shaw would have more plausibility if she would have just done an Instagram story saying she fell into doorknob. I would have been like, okay. Okay. I believe that more than Jen Shaw's stupid response. And I can't believe Jen Shaw had all this time. And that's what she came up with as her huge evidence against the fact that she gave her the black eye.
Right.
And then you see the footage of Heather when Heather said, yeah, I don't know how I got this black eye. And Jen goes, yeah, we're really looking into this thing. We really don't know how. And it's like Heather was waiting for Jen Shaw to take accountability for this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jen
Wow.
Shaw is, I mean, I think there's never been a murderer on a Bravo show, right?
No.
Okay. So Jen Shaw is the most evil. We should do a top 10 most evil.
Yeah.
Jen Shaw's number 1 or 2. I can't remember some of the other main cast members that were as
hers,
evil as.
As we've discussed, definitely the worst crimes. I mean, Tom Girardi's crimes are equally as bad.
We can't add him into the mix because then you
No.
get into that Danny guy from New Jersey who was
Sure.
like killing people and putting them in the trunk allegedly.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you see Tom Girardi has been deemed fit to stand trial though?
my 2024 honesty. I don't know what the bar is for competency, but I've already said it. I unfortunately think Tom Girardi is suffering from dementia, and
What evidence do you have?
when I see a man
Just
come
his
out of
shitty
a
clothes.
nursing home and he's wearing a suit that looks like it was taken out of David Byrne's closet, and it's 4 sizes too big.
That's what they're trying to do.
What if you
He
saw me-
knows every trick
What
in
if
the book.
I got accused of a crime like in 2 months or whatever, and you saw a paparazzi photo of me and I'm wearing too big of a suit and my hair's messed
You're
up,
wearing
and you're
clown
like,
shoes.
and you're like, wait, he's doing the Tom Girardi dementia defense.
It's for like a traffic ticket.
So, okay, you're right. I don't have any evidence. I think I was so on the side of Erica not being complicit and Tom
Yeah.
Girardi actually being, I don't want to say the word.
You're a Girardi stan.
No, I'm not a Girardi stan. I'm just a not.
You're like, he was a pillar of our community for many
I
years.
love him. He was responsible for Aaron Brockovich. I think that I am so adverse to piling on without knowing all the facts. Like, I'm so averse to when the culture defines someone as a villain, and Erica Girardi got it. Erica Jane, she got it so hard for 2 years without specifically anybody knowing any of the details, of
Yeah.
what was actually going on, that I was just like, I need to allow for the counter in my mind that everything is
Beyond
not so
a reasonable doubt.
exactly right. What Tom Girardi would say if he were here.
Well, that's what was so interesting to watch those 2 seasons together. Like, that everyone stood by Jen Shaw and no one stood by Erica, even though
I know.
Jen Shaw was so disgustingly guilty.
Right. That shows you the limits of friendship in the Beverly Hills universe versus, being ride or die for Jen in Salt Lake City. I mean, in their defense, I felt like Heather and Meredith, to a somewhat lesser extent, just could not imagine that Jen Shaw was actually capable of that. Like, they
Right.
just could not imagine. Where Erica Girardi's, there was more nuance there, and you
Right.
don't really know. The
Sure.
details were more boring,
Right.
and you don't know what to believe. Jen Shaw's was so open and shut that you can't believe that the person
It was like
you've been
all or nothing.
all or nothing.
Yeah.
Yes. Is this person morally capable of doing this? We found out yes.
Yeah. Whereas Erica, it was more like, she probably knew there was something fishy going on, but ultimately she just wanted to live that lifestyle. So it's like, what level of acceptance was she having? But they, on Beverly Hills, they really wanted her to be like, take everything I've ever gotten, take my earrings, take
Yeah.
everything. I'm going to live in a hovel. Like, I don't want anything to do with any of it. And she's more like, well, I mean, I was married to a rich guy for 20 years. Like, I get something.
Yeah. I mean, looking back, I always thought that Erica sort of standing up for herself and not, admitting that she was a part of anything illegal and sort of standing firm and that she had no idea. I was like, even though the world thinks that you're an evil person, it's admirable that you're not letting the world make you say anything that you don't want to do, and you're going to let the justice system, speak
Sure.
for you.
I mean, she handled it poorly in that she like turned into like a demon whenever they talked about it. But I understand she was under stress, but she could have handled it better. But
She could have handled it better.
she was like,
But
I don't give a shit about anyone but me.
That was such a good. Let's isolate that. I'm glad I didn't speak for a few seconds. Let's isolate that, and that's our Erica Girardi that we always use. Erica Jane. I thought that it was 2024. Full honesty. I would rather see her real feelings that I don't give a shit about anybody but me. Someone say that.
Yeah.
Then have the PR. Here's what I say every single time. I stand with the victims and I am so ashamed and blah, blah, blah. Like, I gave her credit for being fully honest that she's only thinking about herself right then in the moment. She was drunk when she said it and she was pissed off or whatever.
Sure.
Like, I prefer the reality of that than someone who was thinking about their image nonstop.
Sure. I also, when we get to Beverly Hills next, I will say, I think Erica's a little bit of an all-star this season.
Yeah, I mean, this reminded me of Erica's power. When you put somebody against Erica, I remember why Lisa Vanderpump ran away from Erica and said, I don't know what to do with this person because I do not have any power over
Yeah.
Erica. Erica is powerful, but she still is removed from the show and doesn't give everything to the show. But when you see her up against, I guess we're talking about it, right?
Yeah, should we just bleed in?
Yeah, I mean, this episode sucked.
Oh, I thought you meant our episode.
Oh, no. No, of course not. We're fucking ripping right now. No. You were shocked that you're like, I was like, whoa, did you think Beverly Hills was really good? No,
Well,
this episode, I was like, after Salt Lake City and the height,
Sure.
10 out of 10, which unfair to compare it, but I was like, this is Salt Lake City was a 10 out of 10. This Beverly Hills was a 3 out of 10. This was like
the title.
relentless Erica. They gave the title to Erica because she had the first 10 minutes where she was kind of killing it.
It took me a minute. I was like, oh, it's about Lent.
Yeah, because she gave up Lent and Kyle made that joke.
Yeah.
Well, okay, we officially moved on from Salt Lake City. I mean, we talked about everything, right? Jin Shaw,
think so.
the black eye. We talked about if Monica can come back. I mean, I think we did due diligence.
Yeah.
I think that was a good conversation. But I want to be cognizant of our time here and not give too much focus on Beverly Hills and
No.
Southern Charm because I don't think they warranted it.
No, I think the main thing is just, first of all, because it bled over from the episode before, which we didn't really cover. But Denise trying to come for Erica is a huge mistake on her part.
It's horrible and it's indicative of whatever's going on in this mid-season that is not good. But Denise Richards stirring up 4-year-old garbage from 4 years
We
ago.
can all agree. I don't think anyone would not agree that she didn't know what she was talking about. What she accused her of didn't happen. It was not a big deal, and she's wrong.
Yeah, all of it. And also Denise is horrible on camera. She's
Yeah.
so bad at it.
Yeah.
She got confronted by Erica with a very simple, good, great comeback saying, you got a bundle of OnlyFans with your daughter. What the fuck's going on with that?
Yeah.
And Denise goes, you're mean. You're mean. MEAN, mean. It's like, anything else?
Denise is the opposite of Heather. She fumbled her case like
Yeah.
a public defender.
So-
She just
so-
didn't bring her paperwork. She
Yeah.
dropped it. She's like,
you
she's
know
like,
what you did.
know.
You know what you did. Remember that thing? I don't remember. Was it season 11?
The judge is like, can you clarify the accusation? She's like, you know what it is.
I know they're Denise fans or whatever, but let this be a lesson to you who want her full time again. She flops. She's,
Also, the fact that everyone tried to be like, Erica has gone too low yet again. Like Crystal's like, you can't say stuff about people's kids. I'm like, yeah, you can if the conversation is about whether or not her kids have been seen dirty things before and her literal daughter that she's talking about is on OnlyFans. Hell yeah, I would bring that up.
yes, and yeah, I mean, there is a bar for how low you can go, but that was within reason when Denise is coming for
It
you
was
twice.
relevant.
And it's relevant to this. And I love that Erica goes at the end of this. She was like, "You tried twice, Denise. I'm not fucking talking about this anymore. You flopped both times." That was awesome.
Yeah, she's good.
She's so good. She's so powerful, and she doesn't show this side of her all the time because I think nobody really wants to come for her. And
Right.
then we saw Denise try and just fail harder than anyone I've ever seen try. I bet everyone on the cast was like, "Well, remind me never to go against Erica again."
Totally.
Sutton was
she's
like, "Ugh."
scary
Yeah.
in a good way.
Scary in a good way.
Yeah.
And no, but that's why I'm saying I never lost my full faith in Erica. If anything, I want Erica to be knocked for not bringing her full self to
Right.
the show.
She's getting a spinoff.
Oh, right. They're doing her.
But I feel like it's going to be drama free. It's going to be more for people that just want to see a show get built from the ground up.
I have the same take on that as everything else. These cast members isolated will not provide the same amount of drama. They need the Bravo shine, and they need other cast members to make them.
Right.
None of them can stand alone except Bethany on Bethany Ever After.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'll watch it because logistically I'm interested in seeing her costume selection and choreography. But
I had a question for you. Crystal's Taco Tuesday, worst Taco Tuesday ever.
freezing cold outside. Made everyone sit outside.
Did anyone eat a taco?
Didn't see it.
was just- they just
Everyone
sat-
had to drink tea because they were so cold.
You could have just had this whole conflict just in a room with white walls with chairs in a circle and had the exact same impact of that scene. Nothing about the party or the event led to any of this. There was no fun at this
No.
party. It was just, let's sit down and talk about a bunch of the only shit that we've been talking about. The Denise drama, which is already old as hell. And then what else? Sutton gives a new revelation where she kissed her
Driver.
driver, which I loved it. I was like,
Yeah.
Sutton, that's awesome that you made out with your driver.
Yeah. I liked that well, it was dumb that she got so pissed off about it because who cares? But I liked that Kyle tested the humor level on her way out and was like, Sutton, don't make out with your driver. I was like, okay, we're back.
That was something only Kyle can do after years of wielding, power and conflict. To say that in a lighthearted way was perfect, and it reminded me of the good camaraderie that Sutton and Kyle can have.
Yes. We also, I don't think we need to get into it, but we are revisiting the racial tensions conversation with Garcelle and Dorit, and the only thing I'll say is, Garcelle is valid in her feelings. I do not think that Dorit had any idea that that's what she was saying. And I'm glad that they played a montage of people using the word attack because it's a very common housewife word. And I do not think Dorit had any concept that it would trigger that within Garcelle. But I was annoyed when Sutton was like, I'm glad you brought that up. Dorit lives in a bubble. And I'm like, lest we forget Sutton's entire race storyline from Crystal's first season.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought your 2024 honesty there because I felt the same way. In no world did I think, even with 1% malicious intent, did I think Dorit said attack specifically because of Garcelle's race. No. And I am, like you said, I totally understand why that felt so, horrible to Garcelle. But I think she needs to give the benefit of the doubt to Dorit that is a word, like you just said, that's been tossed around, maybe too freely, but Dorit meant it.
I think Dorit pisses her off.
Yes.
So she had no benefit of the doubt for her. Like if someone else said it that she liked, I think she would have let it slide. But she's like, Dorit, you keep pissing me off.
And I wanted to pose a theory that Garcelle didn't say specifically, but there was a scene where Garcelle tried to bring up Erica's relationship with her kid when Erica screamed in Vegas, and everyone was like hungover and they were eating breakfast, and Garcelle brought it up, and Dorit really said, Garcelle, what the hell are you talking about? Why are you bringing this up now?
Yeah.
We don't want to talk about this, and it's really hurtful that you would imply that we have some hatred towards your son. So the way Dorit shut that Garcelle scene down made me think that is what pissed Garcelle off a lot, and it's another example of Dorit not listening to Garcelle when she has something deep that she wants to talk about. It might have been the wrong time when Garcelle said it, but Dorit shut it down in a way where it wasn't letting Garcelle have a moment.
Yeah.
No matter what. And I think that's what pissed her off. And then Dorit is sort of keeps denying her feelings. But then Garcelle is sort of making it like, I really felt like Bubble and all that stuff was like, she called her a Karen.
Yeah.
So, it's like you have unconscious Karen behavior.
Yeah. Which I'm like, Dorit just kind of seems like a flighty person to me. I feel like if anyone has more malicious undertones, it's Sutton. She feels like she has generational, weird vibes. Dorit kind of just seems like she's flying by the seat of her pants at any given time. I don't think she's thinking that deeply about it. She did flub that one thing when she was like, we've had many people of color work for us over the years. That was a boondoggle.
Yeah. I think it's hard. It's definitely hard to talk about this, but I think just being honest and saying that I don't think Dorit had malicious intent, but that she just needs to. I think they need to figure out how to treat each other respectfully as cast members, so that they both don't think the worst of each other in these circumstances. I just think that they wouldn't be close necessarily, and the fact that they're on a show together makes them have to have these conversations.
Yeah, they can't get on the same page, and it seems like they just shouldn't be friends, and it's not that deep, and they just shouldn't be close.
Yeah.
And it's kind of tiring to watch them try and keep getting on the same page, where I feel like Garcelle is kind of hard on everyone. She was hard on Erica. She's hard on Kyle. She's hard. She kind of gives Sutton a pass for some reason.
Yeah.
But she's hard on everybody.
Well, she'll take it to Sutton. When Sutton was drunk and ranting about Magic Mike, she was like, I don't want to deal with Sutton like this. She can give it to Sutton a little bit.
She gave it to her, but with benefit of the doubt. With everyone else, she's like when Kyle said, you don't go for people's kids and family, Garcelle goes, why didn't you bring that up before then?
Yeah.
She's kind of just we've talked about this before. I'm I can't ever quite put my finger on, except I think she doesn't like any of them.
Yes, that's it. That's it. She doesn't even like Crystal. Like
No.
she criticized Crystal. Like she's like, does Crystal ever talk?
Yeah.
And she was rude to Crystal, which
I know they like didn't show Crystal's outburst where
I
she was
know.
like, "Why do you guys want me to yell all the time?"
you only listen to me when I scream.
Yeah.
So let's talk about. I want to talk about the date with Sutton, if you'll permit me. But then I want to talk about Crystal first because I
Yeah.
think the Crystal conversation is more impactful than Sutton going on a first date again.
Yeah.
I have to assume, pending any last minute, it would be the biggest comeback in Bravo history if Crystal had some 4-episode arc that was the most powerful thing in the world with her brother coming back from China and them having. I don't know, but I think this has to be Crystal's
end.
last season.
Yeah.
I think that she had a fair shot for 3 seasons, and the scene here with Rob where she's at the table and she's talking about how she can never have. I mean, they're talking about why don't you have any iconic moments? It was basically like a fourth wall break.
It's because of Ozempic.
It's because everyone is so skinny that she's distracted by their bodies in every scene, and so she doesn't want to talk.
I mean, I respect that she brought it up because it is like an elephant in the room, both on Beverly Hills Housewives, Bravo in general, and Hollywood in general. It's like every time I open the internet, every single day, I see a new person that's skinnier than they've ever been in my lifetime.
Okay.
Which is interesting to watch. So I think it's interesting that she'll name them. And I understand that she has a history of an eating disorder, so I don't want to minimize that. I'm just saying pre-Ozempic, she still was boring.
Right. No, yes. I don't. I mean, it's like her scenes are making them critic proof. Or,
Right.
You know, I'm unable to talk critically, but I just, first of all, I don't think Crystal enjoys being on the show.
Right.
She doesn't. Why does she like this? She hosts a Taco Tuesday. It completely sucks. She doesn't say one word. Like,
They keep having to talk about her brother for no reason.
That's what I'm saying. It sounded like with this Rob conversation, it was like, what are your 2 storylines? Rob goes, you're very vocal in the house and you have strong opinions. I think you just need to say them. She goes, I can't say them because I'm just marveling at not marveling. I'm remarking on internally about how skinny everybody is. It's like, okay, that's a valid excuse. But then she's like, okay, and that's why I don't, stand out in any scenes. Can we talk about my brother for a second? And it's like, this brother storyline, I'm sorry. What the hell?
Yeah, we don't know him.
We don't know him. He's never. He went to lunch with them once, but this is not the storyline that is going to be the life raft to save you for another season.
No.
It's not.
No.
And no one cares about it, and no one knows enough about it, and they're showing it so seldomly that we just get little pieces of it. It's like, hey, did you talk to your brother? And it's like, yeah, he's meeting with his ex-girlfriend now again. It's like, yeah, I don't know who is invested in this story.
I actually think her husband is more interesting than she is.
Me too, and I feel like Rob, he directed The Lion King. He obviously knows drama. He's like, Crystal, I really want you to do good here. Can I give you advice? And every single time, her scenes, that's why he's in every scene with her.
Yeah.
He's going, you should FaceTime your brother now
Yeah.
and talk about this. And why aren't you being outspoken with your opinions? He's like coaching her.
Right.
He's like a producer.
Did you see, I saw it online. Apparently she has like a massively successful coconut water line.
Whoa, I didn't know
I
that.
forget what it's called, but it's like True Cocoa or something like that. And it's like very widely distributed and she owns it.
Okay, I mean, I would rather see her go to the coconut facility
Yeah.
and inspect coconut water and tell us about this huge brand that she has.
Same.
Then
We don't know shit about her.
no, I know, and I just think
She's got to go. She's got to go.
you okay.
She's
okay.
gotta go.
I thought you were leaving me out on a 2024 limb.
No,
I-
I've always felt this way.
I know, but I didn't know if that like got you like in deal.
No, I think it's interesting because no one will talk about it, the Ozempic of it all. But no, she's so boring. I can't do it anymore.
It's
But then it's scary because if Anna Marie is their test ground for a new person they would
no.
bring, that's bad.
no, she's not. Anne Marie can't come back. I mean, there's no way. The
Flop.
2 things she talks about is esophagus.
Bring Bill
gate.
Burr's wife.
Exactly. She
She had fire.
She was great. I don't even think Anne Marie will be invited to the reunion.
No, that would be a waste of space.
So Crystal, yeah, we talked about it and we've talked about it before, and I hate that we're in the position where we have to critique Crystal, but the producers and everyone are offering this to us, and we can't help but comment on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
The main thing I have to say about Sutton's date is that I enjoyed very much that her date on his karaoke list had the song Nookie.
Yeah. The minute I saw that, I was like, wow, this date is going so well after the flop date that she had with that sort of vaudevillian actor guy that was only talking in stand-up routines
About his
about
mommy.
his mother. That was the wildest thing I think I've ever seen on camera. So then she gets a good date. This guy was kind of fun. He was the
It's
exact
like
opposite.
good within reason.
Yes.
Like it was just like, it wasn't like, oh my God, are we witnessing history? Like they're sparking flames, but it was just like a good
Yeah.
date.
Yeah, and it was there was some great stuff. And like you said, it was awesome that he had a karaoke list of 300 songs. 300?
That's wild.
Could you I have like 10.
I wonder if he has the Playsonic app.
What?
The Playsonic app.
Oh, of course, yeah. Someone was saying on TikTok, they were like, wouldn't it have been amazing if they followed them to a karaoke spot right after and they did Nookie together and they got the rights to Nookie?
Ugh, that'd be fun.
That was, I thought that would have been so beautiful. But yeah, you're right. It was a within reason good date.
Yeah.
After a full-blown flop, one of the most awkward dates I've ever seen.
I was glad she gave him the time of day because I was like, I can't watch her hate the person she's on a date with one more time.
And Alessandra, her matchmaker, kind of shined. She's been very awkward on camera, but I actually thought this was a little more endearing side of her. It seemed like she was listening to Sutton more. But this storyline, I was like happy about it, that this matchmaking thing, but it's so clearly a storyline that now it like seems manufactured.
Yeah.
And Beverly Hills now is running out of the storylines that
yeah.
they started.
Yeah.
And they're all sort of sputtering.
We're
and
on like round like 3 to 5 on like each one.
And
It's
they
like Garcelle with her kids, like Crystal with her brother, Sutton on a date, like
Erica getting ready for her Vegas show. It's like, okay, no, you guys weren't ready for this season. There is nothing here that is. The only thing they have is the tease of Kyle and Mauricio's demise, but Kyle's not ready to talk about that in this moment. So everything they started with is running on fumes. They got lucky with the Sutton and Kyle conflict firsthand because they were able to. That lasted for like 3 episodes, but now I'm like, something new better happen, and it better not be Anne Marie talking about esophaguses
I know.
again.
I can't.
So I was really disappointed in this Beverly Hills episode, and I thought that it could possibly be indicative of a bad season overall if they're already sputtering.
Yeah, I have enjoyed seeing this much Kim Richards though.
Oh, me too.
And so she came over to Kyle's house. Did you like that? So when she comes in, she compliments Kyle's hummingbird necklace. And Kyle's like, actually, I want to give this to you. I originally, when I bought it, wanted to get them for you and Kathy because, you know, when their mom died, they were seeing hummingbirds that made them like think that it was their mom, which I think a lot of people, that's like a common symbol. And she said that after the fight in the limo in season 1, that she walked into her kitchen and there was a dead hummingbird on the floor. Yeah. And I was like, it's giving narcissist mom from beyond the grave. Like, you're killing me. Like, still manipulating her with like her symbolic form. Yeah. So you thought, I didn't even think about that. So you think actually that was Big Kathy manifesting herself in a hummingbird. Being dramatic.
Saying, I kill the hummingbirds that I infest. Or what's it called? Manifest? Embody. I'm going to embody a hummingbird and show you how horrible I think it was that you fought with your sister. You're breaking my heart. And then I get to kill this hummingbird and then embody hummingbirds for the rest of time. Yeah. Man, that sounds like Big Kathy. Doesn't it? Yeah.
I'm like obsessed. I want more. Watching Paris in Love and then the more they're giving us here, I'm like obsessed with this woman. What did she do to these girls? I want to know everything. Like, this conversation between Kim and Kyle, I thought was quite candid, and it brought to light that I think that Kyle is going to more therapy than she has ever gone to before.
She's got that good life coach that we saw.
Yeah, and I think she's finally actually battling her relationships, her boundaries, what she's willing to put up with, and I think it's making her angry. And like, that's what's going on with like Mauricio and like Kathy and everything, where she's finally like, she's like living in the thick of dealing with it. Yeah. And she can probably like get to a point soon where she decides what she's willing to like roll with and can be more chill about it. But right now she's in like combat mode and she's like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
You know?
I loved that revelation that even if Kathy tried to reach out to rebuild this thing, she doesn't know if she wants Kathy in her life the way she was treated by Kathy. This mean-spirited tirades that Kathy goes on, that they're all afraid of, and that Kim admitted that these do happen.
I know. She's like, I don't like those either.
Yeah.
Like Kyle was literally crying, talking about Kathy's meanness that stemmed all the way back from childhood. And then she's talking about her mom and how she had a fiery Irish temper.
Yeah.
And that like they grew up in chaos.
Yeah.
And she's like, come to my house, like with my kids, and there is no chaos. We have a peaceful home, because I would not allow that environment.
Yeah. I agree. That was, and I'm sorry that I tried to breeze past it. That was by far the most powerful scene of this entire thing. And it's another Kyle scene, which I thought her therapy session was also so powerful. Like, her journey this season is remarkable. She's just got a lot of shitty storylines, swirling around her in the midst of this. The dynamic is so interesting. And I thought it was great for Kyle to come to the realization that she has let people treat her badly, but her yearning for love has let them treat her badly. And she always is the one who comes crawling back. Yeah. And now that they've had this, icy relationship, she's seeing that Kathy probably wouldn't ever be the one that wants to rebuild this without her making the initiative. Because Kim says that Kathy goes, well, does Kyle want to, rebuild this thing? Like they're both so tentative if like they should rebuild this thing. And yeah, that was definitely notable for sure.
Yeah. And then Kim is like also going through it about thoughts about her mom. Like she's like, Mom never would have wanted this. And I feel like I understand her more than ever. She gave up her whole life for us. And she just starts crying. She's like, I love Mom. And I'm like, oh my God, old Kathy's grip is so strong.
What's your, like, on the ratio of bad human to good human and the way they talk about Big Kathy? Do you think this was like mostly a tyrant with a great personality that
She's giving Gypsy Rose's mom.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit, because every story we hear that they tell of their mom sounds bad, but then the way they all act like she makes her seem like this force of nature for good, or that she was such a powerful presence and was so dedicated to them that it's like I have a conflict for how I should feel about Big Kathy. But if I was putting my chips down, I would say mostly she sounds like a bad person that maybe had very strong...
Right, like she makes you feel like the most important person in the world, but like the pressure is on. And like she made her kids work from day one. I remember in the Paris Hilton like documentary and show and stuff, she said that her grandma would always be like, she was obsessed with Paris and her beauty, and she'd always be like, she looks like Grace Kelly. And I'm like, why are you like, I feel like she was just like, all of the daughters and granddaughters were like pawns in her goal of like glamour and money. Yeah, I mean, I really do. I do wish that their pure love for their mother had a little nuance to where they could be honest about some of the things they did, because right now I have a portrait of Big Kathy that I can't reconcile, because it sounds like for the most part they feared her, and we need to see like a prime time like Big Kathy's crimes or whatever.
But and then when Kyle tried to have a nuanced portrait of her mother, American woman, Kathy wrote her off and said, you do not have access to my mother, and telling her story. So it sounds like Kyle like tried to do something.
Right. But it sounded like even her version was going to be super sanitized and glamorous.
But even Kathy didn't want even the hint of a 10% antagonist. Like, she didn't want this to be a nuanced person. She wanted all good or nothing.
Yeah. It sounded like, it was Alicia Silverstone who played their mom. And then it was like people on the show would come after the character, and Kathy took that as like trying to take her down.
Also, it sounded like Kathy never even watched it.
Right.
They did the worst thing in the world, like Whitney reading Heather's book, where it's like you take the one.
She didn't read Paris's book either.
Awful. Well, one time I was watching something with Miley Cyrus driving in a car, and she had just put out a hit single, like a huge song, and Billy Ray Cyrus, her shitty fucking dad, was in the backseat going, trying to mouth the words, and he had never heard it before. It's like, you don't listen to your daughter. I don't know, how many daughters do you have? You don't listen to their music when it comes out?
Yeah.
If I had a kid that was doing cool shit or making any art, I would listen to it.
Yeah.
Like, you're so narcissistic and self-absorbed that you can't. What the fuck? People are reading books in your life and writing songs, and you don't have time to spend 2 minutes or 3 minutes to sit down and listen to it?
Yeah.
That is a real marker for how much someone cares about someone in their life.
Yeah. No, there's like a moment. It takes her forever to even say that she read Paris's book, which it's clear that she didn't. Like, she definitely had someone else read it. And she chooses moments in it to call, because Paris ran everything by her first.
It's exactly what happened with Whitney and Heather. Exactly.
And then, Kathy gets pissed off about certain things that are in the book that she's like, you can't trust this like ghostwriter or co-author because she's putting things that she's basically saying anything bad about her in the book was by the ghostwriter.
Yeah. About Kathy.
Yes.
Yeah. Kathy is giving big Kathy, where I hear you're a monster, but you don't let anything negative be said about you, and you like try to hush everyone from speaking ill of you, that now I think you're even more of a monster. It's like, you need to show all facets of your personality so we can get a accurate read on you.
Yeah.
And stop trying to like stop the public from getting to know you, because it makes you seem worse.
Yeah. We'll never know what she said at that club.
You just reminded me. I will only spend 1 minute on this, 2 minutes at most. But we forgot in Salt Lake City, the underrated part of the finale is that Whitney immediately apologizes to Heather for saying that you exploited my vagina, and then she goes, I just got upset with you reading what I read in your book. And Heather goes, I read you every single aspect of that book. I read it to you directly, and I even took out parts that you didn't want in the book. And Whitney goes, yeah, I know, but reading it again, it really brought up. And she goes, I read you every part. What part? It was just like, that was the biggest flop in history.
I know. She's like, I literally took out what you didn't want, even though it was funnier the way I had it originally.
You made me take out a joke that I liked, and I did that for you, and you're still coming to me 3 years later.
I know. She was basically like, it hit different when I read it on the page.
Huge flop. I loved how Heather handled that. She was just like, I just have to deal with you coming at me every day.
So dumb. I know. She was like hugging her like, you don't piss me off at all, my cousin. Like,
yeah, no. She's just like, you're my cousin. I always have to forgive you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Should we do the Southern Charm minute?
Southern Charm minute. I think apart from what took place at Bermuda for the first 10 minutes, which was very impactful, the rest of this thing was...
You mean Jamaica?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Why did I say Bermuda? Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Jamaica.
Yeah, it takes over exactly where it left off. Taylor is still popping off. She's like, do you want me to say that he fucked me? And they're all like, yeah, we do.
Yeah. Madison goes, yeah, please say it right now.
And yeah, so wait, what did Taylor say about her brother? Because that was confusing to me.
Yeah.
Why did she bring him up?
I had to watch it multiple times to understand what the hell Taylor was talking about, because she's so bad at speaking and articulating herself. But she said something like, so Olivia, they're chastising Olivia for bringing this up over and over again. Taylor Ann is so upset for how many times she's tried to apologize, and Olivia still doesn't forgive her. And then Olivia goes, well, I found out that you guys talked to your family about it. And they both go, she goes, I talked to my brother about it. Because I love my brother, just like how I know how much you love your brother. And it's like, Taylor, oh God, you forgot.
That was giving like self-sabotage.
It was not as nefarious as Olivia took it, and not as nefarious as it came across. It was like, for a split second in Taylor's drunken, screaming, kind of upset brain, she brought up the one thing that would devastate Olivia. It was awful. It was horrible. But I think she legitimately forgot. Which
it was weird.
It just goes to show how little they're making of Olivia going through the most devastating thing a human can go through, and still having to go to Jamaica and deal with all this shit as well, because they're not talking about her brother anymore.
Right.
So when Taylor brings that up, it's like, oh God, we all forgot that Olivia is going through the worst shit in the world. And Olivia, it takes her like 10 minutes before that sends her, spiraling.
Right.
Like, Olivia is so upset. Like, she goes, how dare that disgusting person bring my brother's name up? Like,
yeah,
it hurts her so bad, but it's a delayed reaction.
Right.
Because it's like she starts to grieve her brother in Jamaica all of a sudden.
Yeah. I just want to point out, so JT again is like pissed off at Austin or whatever, and then Shep is like, I'm not going to stop JT from making his case or whatever, and he makes yet another weird outdated reference. He goes, JT's like Elliot Ness versus Al Capone. I was like, are you 500 years old? Who is talking about that right now?
Well, when he was born, I think The Untouchables was a show that was running on primetime every single week. So I think he was pulling from his Untouchables
Just like,
bag.
I love it's almost every week he makes a very dated reference.
Yes. Yeah, I like him.
It's funny, but I'm like, it's crazy.
I prefer him pulling these references and not caring, and I think he thinks they're more literary,
Sure.
references. Though that's his pop culture, which I like. So then, well, do you want to talk about how like this sort of everyone sort of gets scattered after this? After Olivia leaves, then Taylor gets so upset. Like, did you want to say anything else about the dinner?
No, I mean, Taylor immediately, with perfect timing for this to become explosive, FaceTimes her brother.
Yes.
While Olivia's in the other room freaking out about her mentioning her brother.
Yes.
Olivia can hear everything that Taylor's saying on the FaceTime.
And did you notice that the production coverage was also scattered because people went in so many directions that they didn't have planned, that when Taylor left, a camera person went with Taylor to catch her reaction. Then there was no one to go with like Olivia and Vanita on their end because they also had a camera on the dinner and they wanted to get Craig and Madison's conversation.
Yeah.
So they were on like iPhone journey and stuff like that.
Right.
So then when Olivia overhears, and Olivia says it later, when you hear someone's thoughts, when you overhear someone's thoughts, and that's their true feelings, and the way Taylor was talking about it was so awful.
She's like, I don't regret anything. They didn't even date anyways. That was bullshit.
Like, why do you think Olivia can't forgive you when that's your real
actual attitude?
That's your actual. She knows that's your true feelings,
right? But that's like the worst case of what she has been saying, but she has been saying like, get over it. Like, she's like, it was one time, who cares? And it's like, that's not up for you to decide.
Exactly. And Taylor, the reason why Taylor thinks that when you apologize, you should be forgiven is that deep down, Taylor thinks she's a very good person, incapable of doing anything weird or wrong. So her self-awareness is very low. She can't accept the fact that she did something very morally wrong, or at least gray, to a very good friend, someone that loved her. So she has to discount what actually happened and give all of these excuses. And then when she says, I apologize. So where is my forgiveness when someone doesn't forgive you and makes her continue to think she's a bad person, and she's not willing to accept that she did something wrong because her religion and how she's moved throughout her entire life will not permit her to think about herself accurately in this situation.
Yeah. Her brother says, what would Jesus do? And I hate to say this because I know what happens to him, but he looks fucked up. Under the influence.
2024 honesty. I mean, I guess I don't think it's speaking ill. I just thought that she caught him at like right after a party. Yeah. And he was like, what would you whatever. I'm not laughing. It's horrible.
Intoxicated.
It's awful. And
well, that's what was so like ghoulish about that conversation of like her saying like, I love my brother as much as you, and knowing what's going to happen. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah. It's I mean, I don't know what Taylor, because Southern Charm, no, it hasn't been filmed. Like, that's going to be filmed right now or very soon in the next couple months. And like, she's going to learn firsthand what Olivia was going through while she also had to deal with all of Taylor and Austin's bullshit.
Right. Yeah. And we'll see what that goes like. It's going to be crazy. Quickly, like, okay. So, when, Olivia bursts into Taylor's room when she can hear the FaceTime, and she's like, I can hear everything you're saying, you dumb fucking bitch. And Taylor like barely responds. She's like, well, anyways.
Well, yeah, that's it.
She's just more verbal abuse.
Olivia fucking killed it though.
No, yeah, that was great.
Running into the room and calling her and say, why don't you watch what you say, you dumb bitch? Like, that was awesome.
Fun. Yeah. Before that, she was like hyperventilating, and I was like, I'm glad she got some energy out on getting pissed.
Also, do we say that Taylor said, I don't regret anything? You said that? I don't regret anything?
Insane. And then it like quickly dips back to Craig.
What about lying about it? I get that you don't regret kissing Austin when you're dancing or whatever, but what about lying about it for Austin's benefit?
It's ridiculous. And then it dips into Craig and Madison's conversation. And Craig's like, these stories don't add up. And I went to law school.
Yes, I love that. I love Madison and Craig's new friendship. Do you mind? I hate to do this, but I have to take a second. Certified turtle piss break ASAP. Do you care? And then we'll finish this minute. I'm so sorry.
We're back.
I think people will be excited that the first 2024 episode has two certified turtle piss breaks. Do you think?
Yeah, they love it.
They love it when we do that.
Okay, so we left off. Craig was saying that he went to law school, so he knows that these stories are inconsistent. Madison is hiccuping like Fred Durst.
Right.
Craig says hiccups come from us evolving from fish. Just another one of his harebrained conspiracies.
Right.
But I want to say this just in. A turtle cutie DM'd us, and then your wife just texted us that. So the episode that airs what is now last night, but to us tonight, they're having that Valley of the Dolls party.
Right.
Olivia posted a story of Leva getting in her car that has Elvis music playing, and then in a different story she goes, Priscilla Presley and Sharon Tate going out for the night.
No way.
Literally
she says
every
that?
day.
She says that in the episode, or it's a
on
post?
Instagram about like tonight's episode.
Has anyone? I ask this every week. Has anyone loved Elvis more than Olivia and now Patricia? Remember we found out Patricia is also completely and
Kristen Takeman. Kristen Takeman is like rewatching her seasons. It comes up a lot.
She said that she would have sex with an Elvis impersonator in Vegas, right?
Yeah, she has a TCB necklace. They have an Elvis impersonator come to the Berkshires. Like she brings it up constantly.
Let's have a Bravo Elvis night hosted by Turtle Time, where we have it in some equidistant place where everybody can come from the Bravo universe. Vegas, but next BravoCon.
Yeah.
Let's have an Elvis night with an Elvis impersonator and only play Elvis music and see who shows up. It's like
at Rhythm and Riffs.
Perfect. Okay. I like that too. I didn't think his strategy for getting rid of hiccups worked.
No.
And
you have to say, I am not a fish. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, I tried different techniques, like chugging a bunch of water.
Stand upside down.
Yep.
Okay. I don't need to talk about JT and Rod. If you don't, their FaceTime was boring.
No, the only thing I thought was notable about it was that Rod is telling JT that Taylor is secretly into him, or has to be sort of into him. I was like, God, Rod, why would you
She
tell
wants
him that?
attention. Come on.
Yeah.
Austin and his sister do like an Olivia review, and his sister seems great.
Yeah,
she seems very cool.
Yeah.
And he's talking again about how Olivia's so back and forth with him, where like in private they're texting and getting along, and then in public she rips him a new asshole. His main example was that apparently the Oscars were like the week after Jamaica, and that they live texted the entire Oscars.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that like her inviting him on a walk right after Jamaica,
A walk on the beach,
and also texting nonstop about, the Oscars is a little like, Olivia, did you forgave him that much? Like what?
I know. At first I got excited that they were talking about the slap Oscars,
me
but
too.
it was the year after.
I totally, yeah. And like nothing notable happened at that, right?
No.
Well, no one had slapped anybody else.
No.
Okay. Yeah. They have this like pop culture relationship where they only speak to each other in Oscars and like movie quotes and memes.
Yeah. I love that Austin said that his therapist described that he was being gaslit by Olivia. And I was like, wow, you really have that therapist wrapped around your finger. That's like crazy.
Yeah. But also like all the instances that he's talking about hanging out with Olivia are off camera. Like he didn't like... Olivia didn't think that her Oscar text with him or that walk was being filmed. So like he is bringing it up on camera specifically so that we know what's actually going on with him and Olivia. And I guess I just chalk it up to Olivia needing whatever Austin fulfilled in her life during this horrible time for her,
Yeah, I don't blame her at all.
Okay, good.
But this I feel like this reunion will also be really good because there's so many things that need clarifying
Yeah.
that I think will be awesome.
Andy is just going to specifically, like a journalist, talk about the timeline in every single detail so that everyone in the world knows exactly what happened.
Yeah. They drop in on Craig and Paige at his house. And I love that she can just be like, she's the opposite of Lindsay Hubbard or Stravi. She's like, tuna sandwich, please. And he whips them up tuna sandwiches and it looked good. I wanted it.
Me too. Craig should release what he did with that thing. What kind of bread was that he made that tuna sandwich with?
No, it might have been sourdough.
He said it, tooting his own horn. He said, this looks like a sandwich you'd pay $20 for. And that's true.
Yeah, it had pepperoncinis. I want
And
that.
he said, did you want to get into the specifics of the scene? I thought it was, he said, specifically, he said, I'm more stable now with you than I was when we first started dating, so I could suffer the loss of this relationship if it didn't work out.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was a very deep thing to share with her.
Yeah.
Like,
she was kind of shocked, but not offended. He was saying, like, it's not the end of the world if we don't end up together. You know, obviously I'll try my best to make it work, but I'm not like terrified.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Which is healthy.
Yeah, it really was. It was like that could be taken so like badly by Paige, but like I think she respected it too. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm in a good place with myself where it's like if I have to lose you, I know I can deal with it.
Yeah.
And then he was like, again, he's so unsure of their status or whatever. He was like, so and she's like, yeah, I understand. And he's like, so do you want to be with me or do you hope it works out?
Yeah.
And she says, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. It was cute.
It was very cute.
And then they go to Madison's for dinner as like couples dinner. And they were saying it's their first couples dinner. And I'm like, in a year?
I think, I don't know, that's kind of rare. I mean, I've done a couple of them and you know, Megan and I have been dating for like 8 years and like I've only done maybe 3 or 4.
Okay.
Like in that small of a group, just you and another couple. I don't do it often, so I can imagine them being, you know, new, that's the only people that they felt comfortable going on a couple's date
Sure.
with, you know?
Yeah. They're also like always filming shows.
Yeah,
with,
right,
like, people.
Right, exactly. Like they're encouraged to be with multiple people all the time. So this was like unique.
Did they imply that Craig chugged a beer on the way there, or was it not beer?
He brought, no, I thought it was a beer. I thought he
Right?
wanted a roadie and he was going to drink it in a car
I feel
on
like
the
you
way.
can't show that.
Now that you say it, I fully thought it was a beer, but now that you're saying it, I guess it was probably a can of.
Do they just do that down there?
Well, they did. They do
In the,
they do
golf
on the golf
carts,
carts,
which
they
I don't
drink.
see the difference.
Eh,
I mean,
me
I guess
no, me
you're
neither.
only putting yourself in danger because, well, not really. If you like veer off, you could make someone else get in a crash.
He also waited to drink it until he was outside. Like he wanted to chug it. So that's what made me think it was a drink. But then the way Paige talked about it, I was like, you don't have to bring your own like Diet Coke to dinner. That's
Right.
what made me think it was that. Because I think she would say, don't bring a beer in the car.
Right. I
Right?
know. Question mark. But I thought it was funny how nervous all parties involved were. They were like,
It was like as awkward as this actually would be in real life. If you're like going to a couple that you don't know that well and they
Yeah.
don't really know Brett, you know, that
Yeah.
well, like it had the actual awkwardness of a
New
pretty
friends.
confined, new friend,
Yeah.
double date.
we didn't talk about. I'm going to quickly say it could never be as awkward as Garcelle and Dorit's meetup.
Oh,
There
yeah.
was like silence for what felt like a full minute.
Yeah, and normally, I don't think Bravo would let there be that amount of silence because it shows like that, like they're not getting along, or they just wouldn't let like that silence linger that long. But that was the longest I've ever seen two people like not speak.
It was horrendous. But yeah, so then of course the conversation basically almost immediately veers into like the wedding talk, the moving talk. And I was kind of annoyed that like they were trying to skew them back towards like they were basically like, we're comfortable now with like not dealing with that right now, and we'll do it when our plan is that we don't have a plan and we'll deal with it later or whatever. And they were like, why? Like you could be engaged for a year, we were engaged for a year, like blah blah blah. And it's like, who cares? Like, do you work for like the state? Like, who gives a shit if they get married?
I mean, everyone like can only talk about one thing with them because they're long distance. And then Brett tries to say like, we're not long distance, even though I leave for 3 days and then come back.
He's like, I just go to work and come back. I'm like, okay, that's what they do.
Right. She probably sees Craig as much as you see Madison. It's like they tried to like create this, like we are a situation that worked and we're doing good. And Brett's like, the ball is in your court, Craig, for how you want to deal with this or whatever. I just think they missed the memo where Craig and Paige have affirmed that this is the relationship they want. And then they were, like you said, trying to like bring them back into like marriage discussions. Like, have they ever met a couple that's not ready to get married yet?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, like who cares? And then also Madison is like, because Paige says she's not ready for cul-de-sac life. She doesn't want to hang up her city life and have kids and live on a cul-de-sac. And Madison's like, I didn't want to live on a cul-de-sac either, but then I met Brett and I was like, which cul-de-sac? And it's like, okay, well, she doesn't feel that way.
right.
Like, that's not
And
bad.
not everybody feels the way you do about Brett. I'm glad you found Brett and you love him so
yeah,
much.
but it's like you already lived in Charleston, by the way.
Right.
Like-
Yeah. I think that almost that scene right before this dinner was hopefully Craig and Paige closing the chapter on speculation about how fast they're moving. They've only been, this will be 2 years probably now in real time. It's like, it's not
Yeah.
so wild that they haven't got engaged yet. And
No.
they probably will based on how they feel about each other.
Yeah. But I loved when Craig goes to the bathroom and she tries on Madison's engagement ring. She's like, I always try on all my friends' rings because I don't really like. It's surprising to me that Paige doesn't have firm opinions on what ring she wants. She seems like someone that would know exactly what she wanted. But then she's like, hurry, give it back before Craig gets a boner.
Yeah, I really like that. And the way they played that scene, like they gave it this like beautiful music, almost like Craig was going to come out of the bathroom and propose or something. Because they like lingered on Paige looking at the ring and gave it this like swelling romantic music.
Yeah.
Like this was going to be the thing that made her want to get
I
married.
read it as like she seemed very underwhelmed by wearing the ring.
Really? Oh,
Like
Oh,
that's what I thought by the look on her face and the way she was talking about rings. I was surprised because she seems like a girl who like she's obsessed with fashion. She's obsessed with like her looks, her styling, whatever. And I was like, I'm surprised that she doesn't. It's giving me like Carrie Bradshaw ring on a string, like very uncomfortable with the idea, like not into it,
Yeah, okay. I read it differently, or I thought that they were trying to make a beautiful moment and then undercut it when the boner thing happens and be like, whoop,
Right. Yeah. For humor.
Yeah, I wanted to remark upon one thing that I thought was characteristic of the show Southern Charm and just scenes I do like. I did like just Whitney and Shep sitting around at that tavern bar drinking $100 glass of whiskey.
Yeah.
It's like I do love those flourishes of what Charleston is actually like.
I know,
apart
and
from
Whitney revealed that he's redoing Michael's little clubhouse and turning it into like a speakeasy or something.
Remember when Austin remarked like the tea room when Whitney gathered them all, and he's like, dude, you need to not be in your mom's tea room and have like a den or whatever. I feel like Whitney immediately was like, start the renovation on Michael's home.
He like called a contractor that night.
They was able to do it in a month and have it ready for the finale. Like that's a perfect idea. And he's like, I don't like to go out in Charleston anymore, so I just want to drink $100 glasses of whiskey in my den. That's another place we get to go to when Patricia invites us to her home.
And we eat that cake.
Oh, I can't wait to eat that cake.
Yes.
Well, I mean, actually, even though, those were low-key episodes, I feel like we got to the heart of both of them, right?
I think so.
And
Yeah.
Southern Charm, we're at the end of it. We have a finale that is on. It'll already have happened, but people who are doing the Southern Charm Challenge with us, you won't watch it till next week.
Yep.
And then we have the reunions, and then Southern Charm is closing a chapter until they start filming again.
Yeah.
And then Beverly Hills is also, 4 episodes away from the end.
Something
probably.
like that.
So we're really, they're what's that called? They're cleaning the decks. Is that what they say?
We're chugging towards Vanderpump Summer House
Yes.
time.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, also gear up because I'm stoked for the Salt Lake reunions. Is that next week or is there going to be a break?
Ooh, I don't know. I didn't check the schedule. I assume they're going to capitalize on the power of that finale and have it come instantly.
Yeah. We must remind you that we do have Heather Gay fan tees available, which we saw a little bit of a surge because a friend of ours posted wearing hers and tagged Heather, and she posted it to her stories, and we got a little influx of sales after that amazing episode.
Yeah, no, seriously, if you want to know how powerful Heather was and how people view Heather after that Salt Lake City finale, our sales tripled from Heather Gay related merchandise, which that's a true testament to how powerful Heather was.
Yeah. So if you want to get yours, it will definitely come in time for the reunions.
Yes.
If you want to wear it while you watch, I think I will be doing that myself.
Yeah. If you've been a secret Heather fan and then this tipped you over to be an outspoken Heather fan, this is the way to show your dedication to Heather. Can I say a bunch of other shit?
Go ahead.
Patreon. I don't know who is a little turtle cutie and is not a Villa Rosa VIP yet, but 2024 is the year of Villa Rosa VIP stardom.
Get your budget in order.
Get your
one less Starbucks a month.
Yeah, $5. Set aside $5 every month to be a part of the Vanderpump Rules recap series and all the other little shit we throw at you that we put. Sorry, we had a little bit of a malfunction. Just be a part of it. I mean, come on, $5 a month.
You won't regret it.
You won't regret it. We're just as fun as we are now on our Vanderpump Rules recap, except we have a little less pressure on us and we get to be a little sillier, and I think it's fun. So please subscribe to Patreon. And then one last thing. Can I ask one last thing of our little turtle cuties? If you enjoy the Turtle Time experience and you love us and you like listening to us for 3 hours, please review us on Apple Podcasts. We have the best reviews of on Apple Podcasts that I've ever seen. I think we're 4.9, where only one hater gave us a 1 star, someone we know personally who hates us with all of their might and wanted to bring us down. But other than that, perfect 5s, and our reviews are so well written and thoughtful and sweet. So if you love Amy and I and you're a little turtle cutie who's been sort of in the shadows, why not come out of your shell and review us on Apple Podcasts? And that will help us for 2024 to become one of the most powerful Bravo podcasts in the universe.
Yeah, especially leading up to Vanderpump season, our most powerful era.
Our most powerful era. And if you're seeing this now, you saw that we changed our art.
Yes.
Amy and I are ready for 2024. The turtle head is poking out.
Oh, God.
That's our new motto. No, sorry. That turtle is coming out of its shell.
Well, especially today is January 5th. Starting January 6th, after our insurrection,
Right.
where we take over Sir Restaurant, that's when we will overtake the hearts and minds.
Yes. Yep. For too long, January 6th has had a negative connotation, and Amy and I are taking it back by hosting an insurrection, not the insurrection you think, S-U-R, at Sir. We are going to officially make January 6th have a new positive connotation, right?
Yeah.
We're going to reclaim it. January 6th is a date that we always loved before the events of January 6th. So this is the new thing. And I was just thinking this when I was taking my certified turtle piss break. Once you and I, if we ever get a producer, it is over for everyone else. You know what I'm talking about? If we have someone who is actually pulling clips and doing all this shit and letting us take certified turtle piss breaks and editing this thing, we are like vaulting, hopefully vaulting to the sky.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
So anyway, 2024, join us for the ride. If we were able to be entertaining and fun during what some people consider a fallow period, imagine what it's like when Vanderpump Rules is roaring back.
My God, I really hope all of the fair weather cuties return. We have
Could you imagine?
new ones.
I can't imagine if there was a little turtle cutie who loved us during Vanderpump Rules and then retreated back into their shell and didn't listen to us until Vanderpump Rules. That'd be so sad. Do you think there was someone like that?
Maybe. I mean, maybe it's like that's the only show they watched, you know?
I mean, it's objectively true that a lot of people did that because our numbers
we have the stats.
We have the stats, so we know that people retreated. Probably 30% of our audience. But anyway, we're coming roaring back. I'm ready for it. I'm geared up. I took a break. I feel like my mind.
I'm going to start working out, doing push-ups.
Me too. I am doing
protein.
I'm doing Robert De Niro and Cape Fear routine in jail. I'm doing that exact same workout routine. My brain just unthawed while I was talking to you. The fact that we could do 3 hours and 5 minutes. I'm back. I know you're back.
I'm putting on my Robert De Niro Killers of the Flower Moon goggles.
Oh,
I'm gonna pull up to your house and go,
Oh, I love that. So we're both different Robert De Niros. I'm doing my Cape Fear workout where it says, get thou behind me, Satan, or whatever, and I'm doing chin-ups or whatever, and you're going, get outside, loser, and come with me in my old tiny car. Beep, beep. Wow, I love your Killers of the Flower Moon reference too. It's perfect.
I saw it finally.
Everyone has to see Killers of the Flower Moon. It's one of the best movies of all time.
Yeah.
Give yourself 3 hours and 30 minutes to enjoy a wild Martin Scorsese saga with Leonardo DiCaprio and Martin Scorsese and Leo, Robert, and Martin.
And Lily Gladstone.
And Lily
new star.
Gladstone, who rips. And some, okay, we don't have to talk about that. But
Jesse Plemons.
also that guy, that little stinker who, spoiler alert, gets blown up in his house. I thought that was a really good actor. The guy who has the cowboy hat.
Yeah.
There's just so many every good character actor.
I was saying
is in
this. It's every white man that wasn't in Oppenheimer.
You were saying that? Wow, you should. I'm glad you said that to me. I didn't know you said that. That was good.
Between Oppenheimer and Killers of the Flower Moon, there are like 40 white men represented.
Yes. Yep. A great year for. No, I'm not going to say it. Okay. Well, it sounds like we don't want to give up, but we have to give up the ghost. 3 hours and 7 minutes. People wanted a 4 hour, but come on, 3 hours and 7 minutes. That's good.
Pretty
With
good.
Two.
Almost the longest.
Almost the longest. But we had a longer one, but we had a Killers of the Flower Moon.
Just barely.
Whatever. This is one of our top 10. We hope you loved it. I felt good about this episode.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. All right. Well, we love you so much, and do all those things that we promoted at the end, please. Most importantly, really, besides giving us money, is review us.
Yes.
If you can't donate to us financially, at least help us get other people to listen to us.
Yeah.
That would
Spread
be
the
sweet.
word, rate and review. And yeah, tell your friends when Vanderpump is back on. We will be talking about it.
Yeah. All right. We love you so much, more than anyone in the world loves you. Goodbye.
Bye.
This one